FM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Very good morning. We start with the weather warning for the Durban region. 15 mils yesterday. More rain in the forecast pretty much all day today. Please drive very carefully. Already looking at an earlier quite serious collision involving a vehicle overturning on the M13 between Hillcrest and Kloof on your way into that central Kloof area. So watch for that. There may be some remnant delays there. The highway between Durban and Pietermaritzburg on the Durban-bound carriageway has a stationary vehicle. Centre lane is closed. Just coming down Cliffdale onto the Key Ridge area. Broken down vehicle to watch for, leaving Buccleuch, heading into Midrand and stuck on the M1 North just past Buccleuch interchange up towards Allendale Road. Rest of the highway network looking okay. And Cape Town on the move nicely. The N1 inbound flowing towards CBD, N2 inbound from Khayelitsha to the airport remarkably clear, and then runs nicely after the airport all the way through to city centre. With your traffic update, I'm Rob Byrne.
It's a very good morning to you in your SFM Sports headlines. We're building up to AFCON. It is here. The final head coach, Hugo Bruges, believing his side can handle the pressure of being a team to watch. And we also bring you news from the cricket field where dangerous smog spoiled the show as the Proteas T20 series, I hope, stalled in Lucknow, India. All the details just before 6:30.
The Morning Brief with Thulasizwe Simelane. Weekdays, Monday to Friday, 6 to 9 a.m. The Morning Brief with Thulasizwe Simelane. Weekdays, Monday to Friday, 6 to 9 a.m.
8 minutes after 6. Today is Thursday, the 18th of December, 2025. Live and direct from our studios here at Radio Park Building at SABC HQ in Auckland Park, Johannesburg, to wherever you're hearing us from this morning. In every city, every town, dorpy, township, kasi, village, and hamlet, from the hinterland to the heartland, from the highways to the byways. Good morning to you, and welcome to the Thursday edition of the Morning Brief on SAFM 104 to 107. I'm Thulasizwe Simelane. Among some of what we will tell you over the next 3 hours, we'll tell you about the curious case of the Kenyan deportees. The Department of Home Affairs confirms the deportation of several Kenyan nationals arrested in a sting operation in Johannesburg, accused of illegally working and processing asylum applications for those South Africans who are seeking refuge in the United States. The case has drawn sharp attention because it is linked, as you will know, to the Trump administration's controversial effort to resettle white Afrikaners in the United States as alleged victims of persecution, a claim that has been strongly rejected, as you will know. Home Affairs moved quickly to clarify reports. There were earlier reports around the raid that seemed to indicate that the people that had been detained were American officials. Home Affairs stressing that no American citizens or U.S. official was arrested or detained during the operation. We've been hearing from the department's Tulani Mavuso, who says that the confusion arose when those arrested initially could not produce identification, but confirmed that they were Kenyan nationals working without proper documentation. The department says the deportations underscore a firm stance on immigration law, and even as the incident continues to strain, to a certain degree, became something of a at least diplomatic chatter between Pretoria and Washington. So at the top of 7, at about 10 past 7, I'll be in conversation with SABC News specialist correspondent Sophie Mkwena, who's been tracking that story and will tell us about the details of the deportation of these 7 Kenyan nationals in these circumstances. No negotiation with criminals. The National Police Commissioner talks tough on illegal mining in Bapong in the northwest. National Police Commissioner General Fanima Simula issuing a stern warning that illegal mining in Bapong in the northwest will not be tolerated. The intervention follows the circulation of disturbing social media videos showing open and dangerous mining activity near residential areas. Police say the operations pose serious risks to communities water resources, and critical infrastructure. So we're told that a multi-agency task team has now been deployed to clamp down on what the National Police Commissioner is describing as outright criminal activity. So those you will know that those operations in Bapong were exposed in the widely shared social media videos and pictures that have been circulating on social media. Masemola says illegal mining is theft of the country's resources, and therefore the police will act quite firmly. We'll put the issue under the spotlight at about 10 to 7 this morning when I speak to Peter Major, who is Director Mining at Modern Corporate Solutions, but also a mining analyst who will unpack some of the phenomena that we are seeing that have to do with that situation in Bapong and what it reveals about the broader issues around illegal mining. Something is in the water and it's not good. A nationwide snapshot of the country's water quality reveals alarming levels of contamination with E. coli detected in up to two-thirds of tested samples. Two-thirds of tested samples showing levels of contamination with E. coli. The findings raise serious public health concerns, including the safety of household drinking water. Activists are saying that failing sewerage and wastewater systems are at the heart of the crisis. Experts warning that without transparency and accountability, the risks will only worsen. This was done by WaterCan, and they tested 500 water samples nationwide, and up to 66% of them contained E. coli bacteria. E. coli indicates contamination by human or animal waste, and contamination was found in rivers, dams, taps, and even in Jojo tanks, with Gauteng recording some of the worst results. So what we will do is, at 7:45 this morning, we'll speak to Ferial Adam, who is Executive Director of WaterCan, also an environmental justice activist. Here's how the team's starting lineup is looking this morning. And Musa, as always, taking care of your news updates. Rob Byrne will be watching those highways and byways that I was talking about a few moments ago for how traffic will be flowing during this holiday season. Zaikan, as always, has your sport covered. Dauleng Lechela will be right on the money with business and economic updates. And Sipho Mantula will take you around the continent and her diaspora with his Africa update. That's coming up at about 20 to 7 this morning. Let's have the conversations throughout the 3 hours. Do call me. The number to dial 086 000 2032. I'll take your WhatsApp voice notes if you send them to 0614 104 107. We've started it up. We've revved it a few times. It's idled and warmed up nicely. Let's put it in gear and get going this morning.
The Carthage Eagles plan to ease off pressure by grabbing 3 points in their Group C opening match. On the other side, the Uganda Cranes want to represent East Africa with a win. This is the Total Energies Africa Cup of Nations Morocco 2025. Experience the big clash between the North and the East. Tunisia versus Uganda on Tuesday, 23 December at 9:30 p.m. Live on SABC Plus and SABC2. Also available on SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4 at 10 p.m. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport, the official broadcaster of AFCON 2025. It's game on everywhere.
As the year winds down, SAFM wishes you and your loved ones a safe, joyful, and truly wonderful festive season. Whether you're traveling, celebrating, or taking time to rest, stay tuned for the stories, the conversations, and the moments that keep us connected. From all of us at SAFM, thank you for making us part of your journey. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us.
Top Sport with Michael Abramson.
Mobile and Ndlovu, and finding out all about the rights of individuals, the rights of teams, how it all works. I want to ask you about this Zlatan Ibrahimovic case from 2021 about his likeness. He complained about his likeness being used in the FIFA game by EA Sports.
The Zlatan Ibrahimovic case was with regards to the FIFA game where they used his image, in the game without his consent, and he claimed that he hadn't been informed conformed in terms of the FIFA Pro rules. Cristiano Ronaldo's image rights are not done with the club. He has a separate company which runs his image rights, and I think it was run by Jorge Mendes for quite a while. And that company can sign agreements with brands and so on, which are separate to the club.
Right.
So these agreements are flexible. They're not just cast in stone because a player has an agreement with the club or the club has an agreement with the brand.
Top Sport on SAFM.
Thulasizwe Simelane on the Morning Brief. Weekdays, Monday to Friday, 6 to 9 a.m.
Yeah, so as a scene setter, I actually want to go back to that story that I was telling you about, what I called the curious case of the Kenyan deportees, those 7 Kenyan nationals who were deported from South Africa. In fact, I want to play you a clip, just for context, from the Home Affairs Minister, Leon Schreiber, who was talking about how the country will not allow people to abuse the immigration laws of this country.
Yesterday, the Department of Home Affairs, in collaboration with other arms of law enforcement, executed a routine, lawful operation in Johannesburg targeted at suspected violations of South African immigration law. The operation followed after intelligence reports indicated that a number of Kenyan nationals had recently entered South Africa on tourist visas and had illegally taken up work at a center processing the applications of so-called refugees to the United States. This was despite the fact that earlier visa applications for Kenyan nationals to perform this work had been lawfully declined by the department. During the operation, 7 Kenyan nationals were discovered engaging in work despite only being in possession of tourist visas, in clear violation of their conditions of entry into the country. They were arrested and issued with deportation orders and will be prohibited from entering South Africa again for a 5-year period. The operation was carried out according to the same procedures that has seen Home Affairs dramatically intensify deportations over the past 18 months, as the South African government diligently works to turn around the long-standing abuse of our immigration and visa system. No US officials were arrested in the process, the operation was not conducted at a diplomatic site, and no members of the public or prospective refugees were harassed. The operation reinforces Home Affairs' commitment to enforcing the rule of law without fear or favor, as no person or entity is above these laws. It also showcases the commitment that South Africa shares with the United States to combating illegal immigration and visa abuse in all its forms. The presence of foreign officials apparently coordinating with undocumented workers naturally raises serious questions about intent and diplomatic protocol. That is why the Department of International Relations and Cooperation has initiated formal diplomatic engagements with both the United States and Kenya to resolve this.
Thulasizwe Simelane on SAFM.
Yeah, so there was the Home Affairs Minister, Dr. Leon Schreiber. I don't know what you think. Do weigh in on that story. As I said, we'll pick it up in the second hour with Sophie Mkwena, just for an update on that story. On the weather front, I have 3 warnings for you coming through from the South African Weather Service. One is an orange level 5 warning, so pretty serious and the likelihood quite high of this occurring. Severe thunderstorms accompanied by heavy downpours with potential to cause flooding of susceptible roads and settlements, strong damaging winds, hail and excessive lightning resulting in danger to life. That is to be expected over the western and northern parts of KwaZulu-Natal. Then a yellow level 4 warning. It says severe thunderstorms accompanied by heavy downpours with potential to cause flooding of susceptible roads and settlements, strong damaging winds, hail and excessive lightning resulting in danger to life. That is to be expected over south central Limpopo, northern Gauteng, western Highveld of Mpumalanga. Yellow level 2 warning, severe thunderstorms accompanied by heavy downpours, damaging winds, excessive lightning and hail resulting in localized flooding and damage to infrastructure and settlements. That is to be expected over most parts of Mpumalanga, southern Gauteng, eastern and central northwest, extreme eastern parts of the Free State, south coast of KwaZulu-Natal and Limpopo, except in the northeast of that province. The rest of your weather, Pretoria will be cloudy with scattered showers and thunder showers, 17 to 26. Johannesburg, cloudy with scattered showers and thunder showers, 16 to 24. Vereeniging, cloudy with scattered showers and thunder showers, 16 to 25. Bombela will be cloudy with scattered showers and thunder showers, 17 to 23. Polokwane, same conditions with a minimum of 17 and a maximum of 23. Mahikeng, partly cloudy with scattered showers and thunder showers, 16 to 28. Bloemfontein, partly cloudy, 16 to 30. Kimberley, partly cloudy, 16 to 33. Same condition in Uppington with a minimum of 17 and a maximum of 36. Cape Town will be fine with a minimum of 16 and a maximum of 25. George, partly cloudy, becoming fine, 13 to 24. Gqeberha, partly cloudy, 13 to 24. East London will be cloudy with light rain in the morning, 16 to 23. Durban, cloudy with widespread showers and thunder showers, 19 to 22. Richards Bay will be cloudy with widespread showers and thunder showers, 21 to 24. And lastly, Pietermaritzburg will be cloudy with widespread showers and thunder showers, 14 to 18.
Worldview Update, bringing you closer to international global news.
22 minutes after 6, the U.S. President Donald Trump has sharply escalated tensions with Venezuela, announcing what he calls, and I quote here, a total and complete blockade, end quote, of sanctioned oil tankers entering or leaving the country. The move marks a dramatic intensification of U.S. pressure on President Nicolas Maduro's government and signals a shift from sanctions to overt military and economic force. Trump has openly tied the action to Venezuela's vast oil reserves, accusing Caracas of stealing American assets. The announcement has already rattled global markets and raised alarm about the risk of wider conflict in the region. So let's pick up that story. I am joined now by, let me just quickly go to, by Donovan Williams, columnist. Apologies for that, Donovan. I don't know what happened to my introduction here. Something seems to have changed. Things do happen in the morning. Why Venezuela? Why is Venezuela in the crosshairs of the Trump administration?
Good morning, Thulasizwe. I did remember your name, but I'll be memorable now after that.
I had that coming.
Yeah, no, of course. No, I mean, I think Trump is on many levels to this, but the one level is quite clear that Trump is signaling the intent and commitment the Americans have to what they call the national security strategy. It was launched about a month ago, maybe less than a month ago, by key takers of the war. And Trump is using the Venezuela matter to show America's intent that anywhere in the world, threaten the United States hegemony, power, and Germany is a security threat. They will do what they do. One level, the other is, as he points to, that like oil, that the United States have a natural right, what they will refer to in the national security as a God-given right, to those assets. So when he says those are our, the America's oil, he means on the basis that what they call the Monroe Doctrine corollary. Corollary is a very difficult word to pronounce, but you can think of it as an addendum.
Mm-hmm.
Monroe Doctrine was something that came after James Monroe, the President of the United States, the earlier president. Particularly said the Western Hemisphere, Central America and Japan and the Pacific was America's, United States of America, in Europe and the others. Was the trade there, that was America's domain. In this regard, Trump is now signaling, in terms of that corollary, that addendum to the Monroe Doctrine, yes, all the natural resources are there, America's. Anybody who uses it not in interest means it is a security threat. That's the level, the layers. And I think some may just call it narcissism. Basically, the ego of the United States right now and how it thinks itself in the world.
So initially, there was an attempt to mask it as being about pushing back against the export of drugs from that region, that Latin American region, especially Venezuela, into the United States. But how does this change in tone make clear the real intentions? This talk about this pressure will continue until Maduro and his administration return oil, land, and other assets, quote unquote, stolen from the United States?
Okay. Firstly, understanding the West, here in the United States, Germany, UK, different administration of the United States under Biden, they are in agreement that they do not want the Venezuelan government to stay. And Maduro or his predecessor, Chavez, they disagree with that government, regard them as not legitimate. Regardless, Thulasizwe said that I traveled to Venezuela twice this year, in 2025, in January and in the middle of the year. Venezuela is, in a sense, a little similar to South Africa in that a lot of the consumer goods in that mainly Western consumer goods. There's a Western culture that's in there in terms of how they live their lives, what they regard as, cell phones and so forth technology. By the second step I made, it already began to shift towards a little bit more Chinese. And you see, because they can't get access to Western consumer goods, it becomes too expensive. So the middle class in that area, in that country, begin to suffer because they can't relate to this change. Their lives are very, very different because the West is so anti-Venezuela and the blockade. The result of this is that it didn't necessarily start up with drugs, it started with the aspect of democracy. The Maduro government is anti-democracy. And that led, and that was the first step. And we saw that the Nobel Prize was given to an opposition leader on the basis that he's fighting for democracy, Maria Contado. And he has called for regime change. He has called for an invasion of Venezuela. You had previously Juan Guaido, who was the Speaker of Parliament, being regarded as the leader of Venezuela by the United States. And that farce was rejected. The problem becomes is that you can see that the United States has been looking for different reasons why they should, why invading Venezuela is an democracy. Maduro is a drug lord, he's a narco terrorist. And now those are our efforts. You cannot take those efforts. So we're looking for different reasons as opposed to accepting the legitimacy of the Venezuelan people to govern themselves. And I can say this, as somebody who visited there, the Maduro government is exceptionally popular. The opposition has not been able, since even the Nobel Peace Prize, has not been able to organize one single protest to say that we do not accept this government. And that's how popular that government is. And so therefore you cannot have, and this is the last one I'll make, you cannot do regime change properly if you do not have any type of popular insurrection on the ground. There has to be some type of popular insurrection, and there's no popular insurrection. So now what Trump is doing, he says, let's basically starve you of trade type of currency by stopping all oil tankers from coming in or going out. People basically starve the population. Very similar in a wicked way to what Israel is doing with Gaza.
All right. Let's leave it there for this morning. Completely out of time. Donovan Williams, thank you for making the time to have the conversation with me. Donovan Williams is social commentator and columnist. Brings us to 6:30. I'll take the news headlines and then I'll come back to Zaikan with the sports update in a moment.
Good morning. Thanks to us. In the headlines, President Cyril Ramaphosa has received the interim report of the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry into criminality, political interference and corruption in the criminal justice system. Johannesburg MMC for Public Safety Mgini Chwaku says police have identified a woman as a person of interest in the murder of Warwick Stock, popularly known as DJ Waras. The woman is alleged to have been a former tenant at the Zambezi building in Johannesburg CBD, where DJ Waras was shot. And Gauteng Police Commissioner Tommy Mtombeni says police are working tirelessly to protect courier drivers as robberies rise across Gauteng during the festive season. 2 robbery suspects were shot dead and a third wounded during a shootout with police and private security officers in Kempton Park, east of Johannesburg. I'll have details on these and other stories at 7.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Very good morning. It is wet across the Durban region. In fact, wet across much of KZN, so please drive very carefully. We've already seen 3 vehicles, one of them flipping over in a crash on a very wet and slippery M13 coming from Hillcrest down to Kloof. Got trucks overturning here and there as well, and very misty up through Van Riemen's Pass. In fact, the N3 toll concession saying between Sidara on the Pietermaritzburg side and Van Riemen's, it's a bit sort of overcast and misty all the way through. So that's a high volume route. A lot of people on that route these days that aren't normally driving that sort of long distance. So please just take it nice and easy, nice and gently. Don't be in a hurry to get where you're going. You will get there, and it's preferable to get there safely without any incident. So very wet across the KZN region. Queues, quite heavy queues at the Lebombo border crossing. That's par for the course this time of year. If you are wanting to go out of SA into Mozambique, just out through Komati Port into the border crossing, expect that to be quite busy as we go from now until the 25th. And Cape Town, Robert Sobukwe, northbound, coming up from the airport to Belleville is closed. There's a jackknife truck there between Symphony Way and Castleflay Road, causing that obstruction. Rob Byrne, SAFM Traffic.
This is SAFM Sport with Zai Khan.
Zai, good morning to you. So Morocco 2025 beckons, and the coach Hugo Broos believes his boys can take the heat.
Yeah, apparently, not apparently. We've beaten bigger teams under tougher pressure before, Tulas. So if Bafana believe it, Rouge believes it, we are believing it. And we are looking forward to, seeing our team in action, AFCON 2025. And that coach saying, Bafana are no longer surprise contenders. We finished third at the last tournament. He says the team has proven its mental strength in high stakes World Cup qualifiers against Nigeria, against Rwanda. Now, South Africa will open their Group E campaign against Angola in Marrakesh on Monday. You can catch the action live on SABC Sport as well as SABC2. For soccer, the Benin coach, Jean Raw, says his side are ready for their Africa Cup of Nations opener against DR Congo in Morocco on the 23rd of December. The Squirrels, as they are known, are drawn in Group D alongside Senegal, Botswana, and DR Congo, with Raw believing the team's training sessions have them well prepared. This will be Benin's 5th AFCON campaign, having missed the last 2 editions. Their best performance came in 2019 when they reached the quarterfinals. More AFCON news. There's been a change of leadership in the Zambian national team, with Fashion Zakala confirmed as the Tripolopolo captain ahead of their AFCON tournament, which kicks off on Sunday. Zakala, based in Saudi Arabia, is replacing Lubambo Musonda, who had led the team for the past few years. Zambia is in Group A, alongside host Morocco, Comoros, and Mali, and Zakala is relishing the opportunity to lead his country.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's a privilege and honor, obviously, to be the captain of the national team. I really appreciate the trust and the responsibilities that I've been given. But for me, nothing really changes. I'm still the same person. I have to keep my humbleness. Nothing will change. I will still remain a brother to the players, the brother, obviously, to the technical staff and the whole entire administration. I think for me, the mission is simple: to unite the team and obviously to be an example in almost everything.
More soccer. FIFA has confirmed record prize money for the 2026 World Cup, with 727 million US dollars, around 12 billion rand, set to be shared amongst the teams. There's a 50% increase in the last tournament. And finally, cricket. South Africa's hopes of clinching the T20 series against India derailed in Lucknow, where the 4th match was abandoned without a ball bowled, not by rain, but by dangerous smog. Air quality levels were rated hazardous, forcing officials to call off play after repeated inspections. The Proteas now need a win in tomorrow's final match in Ahmedabad to square the 5-match series, with India holding a 2-1 lead. That's your sport. Swing back for more. Top of the hour. I'm Zai Khan.
The business update on SAFM.
Here with that is Ndauling Lechela. Good morning to you, Ndauling. Let's start in news to do with the entertainment and streaming wars that take over that we've been watching. Warner Bros. versus Paramount now, the battle for Netflix.
Well, what we are seeing is Warner Bros. Of course, board pushing back against Paramount Skydance's hostile takeover bid, arguing that uncertainty around its financing makes the offer too risky for shareholders. In a regulatory filing, the board said Paramount had failed to provide firm, unconditional backing for its proposal, particularly from the Ellison family, which it had previously presented as the cornerstone of the deal. Now, the board warned that the bid relies on a complex funding structure, including commitments from a revocable trust whose assets could change at any time. By contrast, though, Warner Brothers described the agreed merger with Netflix as fully financed and binding, supported by a strong balance sheet and clearer debt arrangements. Now, beyond financing concerns, the board raised a doubt about Paramount's financial strength, noting its smaller market value, weaker credit profile, and limited cash flow. It also cautioned that Paramount's plan to extract large cost synergies could lead to job losses. So it seems like Warner Bros. Is likely to move forward with the bid next year.
Yeah, and I must correct myself. It is the battle for Warner Bros. Between Netflix and Paramount, as you rightly point out. Tell me about Amazon eyeing investment in OpenAI.
Amazon is in discussions with Amazon about a potential investment and an agreement to use Amazon's AI chip. According to reports, the are ongoing and subject to change, but the investment can exceed $10 billion. Now, the talks come after OpenAI completed a restructuring in October that sets out revised terms of its partnership with Microsoft. Microsoft has invested more than $13 billion in OpenAI since 2019, but no longer holds a right of first refusal to supply compute capacity. OpenAI can now raise capital and work with other partners across the AI ecosystem, and we've been seeing that taking place throughout the year. Now, Amazon so far has invested at least $8 billion in Anthropic, which is a computing AI company and has been developing its own AI chips in Amazon Web Services. OpenAI has signed infrastructure and compute agreements with the $1.3 trillion in recent months, including a $38 billion capacity deal with AWS. In October, the company also completed $6.6 billion secondary share sale, valuing it at $500 billion. Now, this is all taking place as we are still dealing with those AI bubble concerns. And I guess all this money moving around is not beating those overstretched valuation concerns.
Lastly, Dowling, how did we close yesterday and how are we looking this morning?
Kicking things off in the US stocks red as investors continue to rotate out of key AI names sparked by a report that Oracle's primary investor pulled out of one of its data center projects. The tech-heavy Nasdaq leading the losses down 1.8%. Picture quite different back at home with in positive territory. The all share edged up over 1% in yesterday's session, closing just 1 point high of a record high, boosted by higher platinum prices. The rand, in the meantime, remains steady, still below the 17 rand mark to the dollar at 16.78 this hour. And then over in commodities, oil ticking slightly higher, still under $60 a barrel. Focus, of course, shifts to tensions between the US and Venezuela. And then lastly, in Asia, markets mostly in the red on continuing concerns tech valuation.
All right, Dowling, thank you for that. That's the first update from Dowling. Look out for more of her insights in the second hour of the show, just after 7:30.
The Carthage Eagles plan to ease off pressure by grabbing 3 points in their Group C opening match. On the other side, the Uganda Cranes want to represent East Africa with a win. This is the Total Energies Africa Cup of Nations Morocco 2025. Experience the big clash between the North and the East. Tunisia versus Uganda on Tuesday, 23 December at 9:30 p.m. live on SABC Plus and SABC2. Also, available on SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4 at 10 p.m. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport, the official broadcaster of AFCON 2025. It's game on everywhere.
Africa Update on SAFM.
Let's turn to Advocate Sipho Mantula for that. Raz, good morning. Let's start in Addis Ababa. A visit by the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, and a rallying cry for the Global South.
Refreshing morning to us, and what a beautiful rain this morning that we see in Gauteng province. To us, this was an important visit, as we know. India is on a tour with Jordan, Oman, but also Addis Ababa, the of the EU. That meeting of mine with the Prime Minister, defense, agriculture, look at issues of health, artificial intelligence as a new word to us, digital public infrastructure, and mining. And those are the issues that they engage. But they also touch on in international front on the issue of Africa's rightful place for UN Security Council. And as you know, to us, political, economic movement cannot be left out without cultural expression that they had to take the Prime Minister to the site of the Battle of Adwa of 1896. That's where now they were linking historical ties between India and
And in Central African Republic, it's mere days, really, about 2 weeks or so, before that country goes to the polls.
We almost see our disciples in the next coming 10 days, 28th of this month. AR is going for the elections. Now they have what is called the National Electors Authority, equivalent to what you will say, Independent Electoral Commission. Now they are saying that they are ready to us because they've been supported by the UN. Remember, there's a UN. These people equipment coming from ballot boxes, come from what we call non-sensitive election material that has to be there to us. Also getting support from different countries. I see France is also part of it. UNDP. See how efforts in EU deploy to us in terms of the government. Both elections are very critical to us because we are ending the 20 PAR having a presidential.
And a virtual meeting of SADC with South Africa taking center stage in the midst of the crisis in Madagascar.
That's quite true, Tilas. Remember yesterday when you gave the we did a meeting of the heads of state extraordinary. And it could ask myself why issues of people when we are very important to us. To sit in the report of Madagascar was to also say that the summit has transitional government of Madagascar to initiate an national dialogue and also to pave the way for the elections. What is also key to us was the Matula taking the incoming chair of the SADC. Remember that what is still raising was that there was no vice chair since Madagascar had left the SADC since the military coup that happened. Now South Africa was a deputy chair, so it had to agree that chairperson until 2022. Zambia becoming the vice chair and becoming the incoming only in 2027. So like I said, after we are going to be on SADC for the coming 1 month. This is a very interesting moment how SADC will navigate. On SADC, I don't know where the data, where the signal on the our neighbor Mozambique, and there are tensions going on there. You can enter 2026 all those key areas that are there.
Yeah. So you have two historical archives that you want to touch on, Sipho. Both have to do with two sons of the soil, important anniversaries as far as they are concerned. The 18th of December, 1946 and the 18th of December, 1965.
That's quite true, too. And I think we did the tribute for Biko Menu on Tuesday when you were on holiday, when we played Bantu Biko. Today, Bantu Biko lived in 79 years old. Consciousness a pioneer and the son of the soil of Eastern Cape, was born on this day. Thulas. We know about the interest in 2020. Very interesting moments that we have to remember in front of people. Also, I know it's a favorite, like I said, Thulas. This man was born in, no, Thulas. The man was born in Kamasashane in grew up in Thulas, Alexandra, as well as Deep Blue. He will have been 60 years old today. 10 years ago, we're talking about receiver, John Steve. When you talk about this guy, I mean, when you pull us, confuse me, people will tell you about, he had 9 cars, his first car was Toyota 146. He had a Porsche, he had a Mini Cooper.
I was
He was the father of 4 children, 2 boys and 2 girls. Man who was part of the 1990s. I'm still thinking that's that's how we are both
and for
as well.
and just for you, Sipho, here's what we did.
Wow.
Just for
Peter
you.
Gabriel.
Just for
Peter
you.
Gabriel.
Biko.
Asante sana Thulas.
Thank you, Sipho.
Are we ready for a real conversation? SAFM, leading the conversations that move us.
All right, let's get to the story. The Border Management Authority says it has struck a significant blow against cross-border smuggling after seizing illicit goods worth nearly 1 million rand at the Beitbridge border post at the port of entry. The operation forms part of the BMA's intensified festive season enforcement, a period traditionally associated with increased illegal activity. Let's speak to Dr. Michael Masiapato, the Border Management Authority's Commissioner. Commissioner, good morning and thank you for your time. So tell me about this seizure. What were these goods and what were the circumstances in which they were seized?
Thank you very much, PS, and we appreciate this opportunity in the DNA. Indeed, Thulas, as part of our intensified effort during this particular period, we had been able to do some bit of interceptions beside the ones in Beitbridge, but we are doing this throughout in various other places. But in terms of this particular interception, you will be aware, Thulas, as we have indicated on the 7th of December, when we launched our specific operation plan, we have also partnered with DCD Mobility, which is one of the enterprises that operates in the defense industry space. On that basis, they are partnering with us as part of a proof of concept in terms of some of the vehicles that they have, the enterprise. So on that basis, they have been assisting us to also enter into very much, difficult terrain, particularly around this borderline as it was. So on that basis, we were able to intercept a lot of, goods that people would have either bought or stolen out of South Africa with the intention of crossing them through the river to the Zimbabwean side. And on that basis, we have been able to do those interceptions.
What
We're
type?
also able
Yeah.
to.
So, sorry, you just finished the point you were making. You were also able to?
Yeah, I was saying we're also able to intercept 110 packs. And that was also kind of stolen out of South Africa with the intention of taking it out once again into the Zimbabwean side.
In terms of the goods that were seized, did you notice a pattern of certain categories of goods being smuggled out of South Africa and those that are being smuggled into South Africa?
Yeah, under normal circumstances, in terms of those that are to be brought into the country, we are talking mainly about illicit cigarettes. Those ones we mainly, intercept along the, the borderline along the Limpopo River. That is the biggest challenge. And by the way, as we always indicate, that is the biggest, I would say, confinement that people are trying to bring legally. You will remember to that even the American tobacco did percent the cigarette smoke is different, and most of it coming legal that are produced very much serious. But in terms of those that are existing killers, it's mainly your household-based kind of goods. I mean, sometimes people will smuggle, fridges. Sometimes they will be smuggling other things that are mainly for consumption purposes and all of those. So basically, those are the kind of interceptions that we've made even in this.
What do you say to someone who says what you are seeing is just the tip of the iceberg? And as commendable as this breakthrough has been, these breakthroughs that you are reporting, still a lot more still gets through undetected by yourselves.
Yeah, you see, seriously, just that, like I'm saying, we've just been, able to amplify this particular one. But in terms of the broader interception, it's actually a daily enterprise. It's a daily activity, especially in our northern border. If you look at, for example, East Big Bridge, a lot of intersections that are actually linked from the African National Defense Force. So at the end, it is very much true that if we do the intersections, there will be some that actually get without necessarily being. But we do the best to make sure that we actually interrupt the activity. Maybe let me also say this point, plus just in terms of trying to explain, particularly the outward bound goods that people actually move out. What the people say, and when we do the intersections and when we engage with them, they do indicate that the reason why they are pushing these goods bad cost, some of them are legitimately bought, even at Musina Mall, for instance, but they will still take them out. And the question is, why would you want to bring them out? Because some of the individuals, even in those activities, will they indicate that the biggest problem they have of posting the goods, the
Yeah.
cost, because on the Zimbabwean side is very much costly in terms of what they get
Right.
charged. Because on our side, we don't charge people if they are moving with what we call alive, not
I see.
necessarily commission.
All right. Let's leave it there for this morning. Thank you for your time and for the update, Dr. Michael Masiapato, Border Management Authority Commissioner.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Good morning. It is going to be slightly chaotic around KZN and around the Durban region. Wet weather and the rain likely to be with us all day today. We are looking at multiple crash scenes here, there and everywhere. Vehicles involved, trucks overturning. It is just going to be a difficult one today. Please drive safely. Looking okay across Gauteng as a whole. Little bit of traffic here and there, but nowhere near the volumes you would normally expect for this time on a Thursday. Cape Town, a crash blocking Robert Sobukwe northbound between Symphony Way and Yellowwood. If you're on your way to Belleville, you'll be diverted away from that sort of northbound run from the airport and diverted down through the Sack Circle area. With your traffic update, I'm Rob Byrne.
South Africa, this is Dr. Kumalo. The wait is finally over.
My name is Walter Stienbo. The wait is finally over.
My name is Tavis Omosia. The wait is finally over. AFCON 2025 kicks off on the 21st of December until the 18th of January 2026. It is game on everywhere. Catch 52 live matches across SABC2 on all your favorite SABC radio stations and streaming live on SABC Plus.
Feel every goal, cheer every victory, and celebrate Bafana Bafana with the nation.
SABC Sport is the official broadcaster of
AFCON 2025.
Thulasizwe Simelane on the Morning Brief. Weekdays, Monday to Friday, 6 to 9 a.m.
So the National Police Commissioner General Fani Masimula issuing a stern warning that illegal mining in Bapong in the northwest will not be tolerated. The intervention follows the circulation of disturbing social media videos showing open and dangerous mining activity near residential areas. Police say the operations pose serious risks to communities, water sources, and critical infrastructure. So we are told that a multi-agency task team has now been deployed to clamp down on what Masemola is describing as outright criminal activity. Let's speak to Peter Major, Director, Mining at Modern Corporate Solutions, and also a mining analyst. Good morning to you, Peter, and thank you for your time. What we are seeing in Bapong, at least the pictures are quite disturbing in terms of the deep excavations that have been done, the infrastructure that has been deployed for what is an illicit activity. But how typical or emblematic is it of the issue of illicit and illegal mining?
Well, I think it continues to grow and expand. Now, everybody in the country gets to see how out of control it is. That you've got almost 40% unemployment in the country. So people are starving. People are looking to do anything to make money. We know that South Africa is a treasure chest of minerals. It's got virtually every mineral known to man, and it's got in good quantities, good grade. So that's why we were the mining capital of the world for nearly 100 years. And the metal prices now, we are in a super cycle. We've had high metal prices for almost 20 years nonstop. So you put all these ingredients together, yeah, you've got a cake, but this is a bad cake. It means everybody wants to mine minerals to stay alive, to make money, to make their future better. And when we nationalized the minerals back in 2004, we said, no longer do private individuals have minerals, the state has the minerals. So if you were a private individual and you had minerals on your property, you would protect your property. You would either mine them yourself or you'd probably find a larger experienced company, maybe Anglo American or Goldfield, someone to come help you mine them. Or maybe you would just sell them the property. When people have private ownership of something, they take care of it. But now that the government owns all these minerals, private individuals may have a large farm. They can't combat the illegals on there. They're not going to risk getting killed. So fortunately, it is out of control. It's not exaggerating to say it's the Wild West. It's much worse than Wild West ever was.
Sure. To what extent is it a law enforcement issue that can be responded to in the manner that General Masemola is suggesting, in the manner we've seen with Operation Vala Umkoti? That's on the one hand, but on the other hand, the issues that you point to, the systemic issues to do with the mining sector itself and where it stands at the moment.
That's correct. I feel sorry for the police because there's many more illegal miners out there than there are policemen. And the policemen are combating often people that are well armed, better prepared, better organized. And you need local citizens on board as well. As soon as you see one illegal miner pop up somewhere, you need a responsible citizen to call the police. But sometimes these illegal miners are in conjunction with citizens. I've heard stories been told that some of the residents are illegal selling property. Now you say, how do you illegally sell a property without a title deed? How do you illegally sell a property supposedly with a mining right? And that the police have to come. So the police need all the residents on their side. The residents need the police on their side. They need the government on their side. They need the army on their side. They need their ministers, their aldermen. Yeah, because the problem is so large, it needs the involvement of all the authorities, all the citizens working together. And that's hard to get.
All right. Let's thank you for your time and your insights this morning. That's Peter Major, Director, Mining at Modern Corporate Solutions, also a mining analyst. Brings us to 7 a.m. and N. Musa is on standby with the latest news.
In our top stories, President Ramaphosa receives first findings from the Matlanga inquiry and police identify a woman as person of interest in Wara's murder. Good morning. President Cyril Ramaphosa has received the interim report of the Matlanga Commission of Inquiry into criminality, political interference and corruption in the criminal justice system. The handing over of the interim report to President Ramaphosa marks 3 months since KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi took to the stand at the Bridget Mabandla Justice College in September. Presidential spokesperson Vincent Magwenya says the president has expressed his appreciation for the report.
President Ramaphosa will study the interim report while the commission, which is in recess, prepares to hear further testimony from new witnesses or persons who have previously testified. The president has expressed his appreciation for the interim report, as well as his expectation that the commission will, as part of its terms of reference, refer actions thought to be criminal acts to prosecution.
Meanwhile, yesterday, Marius van der Merwe, also known as Witness D, was laid to rest after he was killed outside his home in Brakpan, east of Johannesburg. He testified before the Commission on the 14th of November about matters in the Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department. Commission spokesperson Jeremy Michael says the Commission will not be intimidated by van der Merwe's murder.
The Madlanga Commission will not be intimidated, and we urge the relevant law enforcement agencies to track down and bring to book all those who seek to undermine the work of the Commission and the rule of law in our country. The Commission has also been encouraged by the fact that more witnesses have come forward to assist in getting to the bottom of the allegations of criminality, political interference, and corruption in the criminal justice system.
Johannesburg MMC for Public Safety Mgini Chwaku says police have identified a woman as a person of interest in the murder of Warwick Stock, popularly known as DJ Waras. The woman is alleged to have been a former tenant at the Zambezi building in the Johannesburg CBD, where DJ Waras was shot. Police have launched a manhunt for the suspects involved in his murder on Tuesday. 5 people have been taken in for questioning so far. Chwaku says police are working around the clock to get to the bottom of the case.
There's a woman as was cited to be the kingpin, cited in the negotiation order. So the woman is a woman of interest. There's a committee there that has been threatening wars. Hence, he had to go and get the protection order. Those women, so it's a committee. They've been intimidating the security guys there. Like they've been threatening them to burn down the building. They've been threatening to eliminate those security officers. That's why we're saying that we're taking everyone from questioning.
Gauteng Police Commissioner Tommy Mtombeni says police are working tirelessly to protect courier drivers as robberies rise across Gauteng during the festive season. 2 robbery suspects were shot dead and a third wounded during a shootout with police and private security officers in Kempton Park, east of Johannesburg. The wounded suspect is currently receiving medical care under police guard. Mtombeni has assured the public that investigations are ongoing.
This crime gets reported, but we must have to indicate that not necessarily for this safer festive season, though we have beefed up the workforce. Some of you will recall that we had another interception during the course of this year in Naledi, where, if I'm not mistaken, I think there were 3 fatalities in that space, and then we recovered quite a number of firearms. So I should think we are systematically working on those suspects, and I think they are also aware that we are tailing them or we are behind them.
The NPA in Limpopo has welcomed the Polokwane Magistrate Court's decision to deny prominent Limpopo musician Lihlohonolo Chauke, popularly known as Shebe Mabona, bail. He was arrested after he allegedly shot and wounded a fan in October. The victim was in ICU for 4 weeks and remains in the Polokwane Provincial Hospital. Shebe Mabona is facing 9 counts, including 3 of attempted murder. NPA spokesperson Mashudu Malabi.
He failed to adduce the reason which can satisfy the courts to release him on bail. Remember that in court there were lots of charges which has been given to the court that by the time when he was released on bail in different courts, he was committing further offences. That is why he was denied bail.
Meanwhile, spokesperson for the Limpopo artist movement, Mphoza Mashabela, has expressed unhappiness over Shebe Mabona being denied bail.
We are not happy as the organization. This is a setback to the entertainment industry, to the promoters. This is very bad. We never even lost hope. We thought today a miracle will happen. But what I can show the public over there, this is not over. I've been engaging with the family and the advocate, so we are taking it to Polokwane High Court.
Recapping the top story, President Cyril Ramaphosa has received the interim report of the Matlanga Commission of Inquiry into criminality, political interference and corruption in the criminal justice system. For SAFM News, I am Anne Musa.
It's a very good morning to you in your SFM Sports headlines. Bafana Bafana have jetted off, and that's as they head to Morocco to open their AFCON tournament campaign. And we're bringing news from Lucknow, where no cricket happened due to dangerous smog. The Proteas unable to bowl that first ball. We'll bring you details just before 7:30.
This traffic report is brought to you by Auto and General Business Insurance. Auto and General, never not there. Auto and General is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's and C's online.
At Auto & General, we understand your business is built on more than just vehicles. It's your stock, tools and equipment, and the premises where you work. Auto & General Business Insurance is designed for businesses like yours, protecting your assets against fire, theft, storms, and other unexpected events. To protect your livelihood, visit autogen.co.za and get an obligation-free business insurance quote. Auto & General, never not there. Auto & General is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's and C's online.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Good morning. Wet roads across Durban, wet roads across much of KZN. It is going to be a very chaotic day on the roads. Add to that a breakdown, the first of today's breakdowns at Cliffdale heading towards Pietermaritzburg. The traffic from Key Ridge already starting to look quite heavy. Gauteng as a whole looking fine this morning. A little bit of traffic, but really nothing serious on your way through. And Cape Town, a reminder of the closure of Robert Sobukwe going northbound from the airport up towards Belleville. The road is closed from Symphony Way through to Castlesflay Road due to a jackknife truck motorist being diverted off Robert Sobukwe and sent along via Sack Circle as the alternative. Also a little bit of traffic pressure this morning on 35th Avenue, moving up into Elsie's, just queuing around the roadworks as you come into Parow by Jan van Riebeek Drive. With your traffic update, I'm Rob Byrne.
That traffic report was brought to you by Auto and General Business Insurance. Auto and General, never not there. Auto and General is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's and C's online.
The Morning Brief with Thulasizwe Simelane. Weekdays, Monday to Friday, 6 to 9 a.m. The Morning Brief with Thulasizwe Simelane. Weekdays, Monday to Friday, 6 to 9 a.m.
9 minutes after 7, welcome to it, the second hour of the Morning Brief on SAFM 104 to 107. Also live on our digital platforms on the website safm.co.za, but also at SAFM Radio on Facebook as well as on X. And we are always live on our YouTube channel, that is SAFM Radio. Among some of what we will tell you in this hour, we'll start with a conversation about the concerning deaths of initiates during the summer initiation period. And we are told that at least 13 initiates have died during this summer initiation season. And we'll be in conversation with Deputy Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, that is Prince Zolile Burns Ngamashe, in the next few minutes. And we'll talk about that. There's also this story of one initiate that we're told has gone missing in Ngobo village, I think it is. And we'll pose that question as well to the Deputy Minister about what they know as government about that and what phenomenon perhaps it reveals about some of what may go wrong during the initiation season. Prince Zolile Burns Ngamashe on standby to have that conversation with me in the next few minutes. And then after that, we'll get to that conversation about the Kenyan nationals that were deported yesterday after they were found working on processing asylum applications for the United States under that program of the Trump administration that seeks to facilitate Afrikaners from South Africa gaining access to the refugee system and the asylum system of the United States. The story we're now getting, initial reports had suggested that this was a detention by South African officials of the United States. The Department of Home Affairs, through Minister Leon Schreiber, and other officials coming through strongly to say that there's none of that. And none of that actually happened. What happened was these were people who were in South Africa on tourist visas, but then they were now working. They were denied working visas when they applied, and then they came in, according to the department at least, they came in on tourist visas and were now working on these asylum seeker processes. Sophie Mkwena, specialist correspondent for SABC News, will unpack all of that and give us the fuller details on what we know about that story at the moment. The number to dial to have a conversation on this and any other matters that may be on your mind this morning, it is 086 000 2032. 086 000 2032. Your WhatsApp voice notes, please send them to 0614 104 107. Let's get into it. The second hour of the morning brief on this Thursday.
The Atlas Lions aren't willing to negotiate. They want 3 points in their Group A opener to emphasize that they are the hosts. However, the Comorians have a massive plan to rise to the occasion. This is the Total Energies Africa Cup of Nations Morocco 2025. Witness Morocco versus Comoros on Sunday, 21 December, starting with the opening ceremony at 8 p.m. Live on SABC Plus and SABC2. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport, the official broadcaster of AFCON 2025. It's game on everywhere.
To all pedestrians, please wear light or white clothing when walking at night. Headlights cannot pick up dark clothing soon enough to save a life. And to all road users, rest every 200 kilometers or at least every 2 hours. If you feel fatigued, pull over safely. Falling asleep at the wheel leads to head-on collisions that are almost always fatal. And the rules are simple. Don't drink and drive. Don't drink and jaywalk. If you need to party, stay over. Brought to you by the Department of Transport, moving South Africa to new heights.
Thulasizwe Simelane is streaming live now on Facebook, YouTube, and X at SAFM Radio.
Indeed, we are. We always are. 14 minutes after 7. The Deputy Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, Prince Zolile Burns-Ngamashe, will undertake an urgent oversight visit to the Eastern Cape following the deaths of 13 initiates. The fatalities recorded since the start of the summer initiation season have once again raised concerns about safety and accountability. The visits aim to assess conditions at initiation schools and strengthen preventative measures. Deputy Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, Prince Zolile Burns-Ngamashe, joins me now to take the conversation forward. Good morning to you and thank you for your time, Deputy Minister. I know this is a question that we ask frequently with every initiation season as we see young men dying, unfortunately, during this rite of passage. But what's our understanding of what's driving these deaths? What's behind many of these deaths at the moment?
Thank you very much, Thulasizwe, for this opportunity to you and your listeners. Firstly, let me, on behalf of government, or heart condolences to the royal family of Jose Mahura, the eldest member of the National House of Traditional Wisdom Leaders, who sadly passed on, whose details would one.
Sure.
Suddenly, register to South Africans that we are now sitting at 17 in the Eastern Cape.
Hmm.
Only in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
Now, this largely could be attributed to high levels of negligence, particularly on the part of the parents.
Please,
Yes.
please say a bit more about that. You're saying it can be attributed to high degree of negligence, and you say, and I quote, particularly on the part of the parents. What do you mean by
Yes.
that?
What I mean by that is government does not give birth to initiate. Traditional nurses don't give birth to initiate. Initiates are born of the man. Family members have a huge responsibility. I started my oversight visit yesterday in Alfred Nzo, where 65 initiates expect to be going home this week. All of them, fit, healthy, parents are there, taking full responsibility. Now, when I got the report of what happened to the 17 initiates, dehydration, for instance, seems to be the biggest problem. Now, ask yourself a simple question. Where is the parent to guide the initiate? Where is the traditional nurse under the supervision of the Premier Mabuyana made a very good example last season. He was there.
Yeah.
Whole season. He was there. And the boys came back safe, healthy.
Yeah.
The other challenge that you see, which was told, septicemia.
Mm-hmm.
And anything related to those medical conditions.
Sure.
Again, it's negligence.
So, what role should the parents be playing that you are saying they are not playing that would avert situations such as dehydration, which I imagine happens, when the young men are out there in the bush? Are you saying that the parents should be more closely involved, especially the male parents, the elder parents, whatever the dynamics in the family are, whether or not there is a father figure in the family?
Of course, yes.
Hmm.
My child will undergo initiation because I went to initiation. I went to initiation because my father went to initiation. Nobody told me about initiation other than my father. That is the first person who told me the do's and don'ts. Last season, as an example, when I visited in Tanzania, you don't have to be a medical person to see that this young initiate is suffering from dehydration. I immediately asked the traditional nurse, why are you not giving this young initiate water? Who Who has ever said that water must not be used? Thirdly, the answer was that the father of the child instructed me not to give him water. Is that government? No, it's the parent. The mother will go to her grave with her heart bleeding, not knowing what happened to the child. Yet the murderer is next to her, sleeping next to her, eating next to her, sleeping next to her.
What sets this rite of passage as it's undertaken in the Eastern Cape and in certain regions, I suppose, in the Eastern Cape, that you find the problem manifesting itself? What sets that apart from initiation seasons elsewhere in the country, in parts of Mpumalanga, in Limpopo, for example? I'm saying, what makes it possible for these problems you are highlighting to manifest in the Eastern Cape in particular, and in certain regions of the Eastern Cape, as compared to other regions of the country where this rite of passage is practiced?
Let me start by saying the only region, or rather, the two regions where you have 100% success is Nelson Mandela and Sana Patna. Those two, there are no incidents up until now, 100%. The rest of other regions, you have fatalities. Whether it is Chris Rani, it is Buffalo City, it is Amatole, it is O.R. Tambo, it's Alfred Nzo. There are fatalities. So you can see it's not a phenomenon that is concentrated in a particular region. Of course, this region actually have many things. And what also complicated issues here, unfortunately, the geopolitical effects where President Trump withdrew funding affected the NGO called the Right to Care, which largely relies on that funding. Now, unfortunately, they had to scale it down. Whatever intervention that they used to bring on board. That is huge. You can now see the reality.
All right. Deputy Minister, I think we have to leave it there. Thank you for your time this morning. That's Deputy Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, Prince Zolile Burns Ngamashi.
If getting help from your bank means pressing 1, then 4, then 7, then 3, then 9 to hear the options again, perhaps the key to press is the red one. Then join Discovery Bank, where a single tap in the app intelligently connects you to the right banker for service like no other bank. Discovery Bank is a licensed FSP and Ask Africa's Best Banking Service winner.
Hello, South Africa. Thabo Senong is my name. The wait is finally over.
My name is Mazola Molefe. The wait is finally over.
My name is Lonwabo Miso. The wait is finally over. AFCON 2025 kicks off on the 21st of December and concludes on the 18th of January 2026. It's game on everywhere. Catch 52 live matches across SABC2, on all your favorite SABC radio stations, and streaming live on SABC+.
Feel every goal, cheer every victory,
and celebrate Bafana Bafana with the nation.
SABC Sport is the official broadcaster of AFCON 2025.
This season, make Christmas magic together with Spar and Super Savings. Get Spar tender and tasty boneless gammon for $89.99 per kg. Or 1.5 litre Coca-Cola regular only. Buy 2 for 32 Rand. plus 100 megs free data on Spar Mobile. Price is valid from 8 till 28 December 2025 while stocks last. T's and C's apply.
At Auto & General, we understand your business is built on more than just vehicles. It's your stock, tools and equipment, and the premises where you work. Auto & General Business Insurance is designed for businesses like yours, protecting your assets against fire, theft, storms, and other unexpected events. To protect your livelihood, visit autogen.co.za and get an obligation-free business insurance quote. Auto & General, never not there. Auto & General is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's and C's online.
Call Thulasizwe now, 086 000 2032.
Quick reaction to my conversation with the Deputy Minister, Prince Zolile Burns Ngamashe. Reaction from Victor. Victor, good morning. Short and sharp for me, if you don't mind.
Yes, I was saddened to hear all that. The season just starting again, on the roads and in the institution and the back situation ceremonies that are now once again killing off young boys. That's disgraceful, absolutely disgraceful. My suggestion is that the short out, you've got the hospitals to deal with that sort of thing. They need to do. And also, we need to introduce and include some sex education at the same time. These guys are now, they've got new tools they want to use, and they go off, and there's no consequences. The SABC reported 2,000 teenage girls fell pregnant in the cell alone in the school holidays last year. Any fathers taking responsibility? None. So we're breeding poverty, and will live that way for the rest of their lives. What a terrible business. And I'm sure these are a teenage disaster in most cases. So, yeah, we've got real problems, and we really have.
All right, Victor, thank you for that. That's Victor in Cape Town weighing in on the deaths during the initiation season.
This is SAFM Sport with Zai Khan.
Zai, good morning to you. So Bafana are off to Morocco.
Yeah, Tulas, they're off. They've got their luggage, they've got the belief, and they've got us watching everything as looking forward to seeing them perform this year's AFCON. Yeah, Morocco awaits. This is the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations. Bafana are carrying confidence after a 1-0 send-off win over Ghana at Stopsonville Stadium. Coach Hugo Bruges admits the performance wasn't flawless, but says his side are built to handle pressure. Now, South Africa will open the AFCON campaign against Angola in Marrakesh on Monday, followed by clashes with Egypt and Zimbabwe in Group E. Now, more AFCON news as Zambia continue their AFCON preparations in Europe. Newly appointed captain Fashion Sakala says the focus isn't just on tactics and team shape, but also about the people back home. The Polo skipper has sent a clear message to Zambian supporters.
I think for me, I will start with appreciation, of course, just to thank them, to thank each and every Zambian for supporting us. They've been very supportive. They've been very amazing to us. I'll continue asking them to continue supporting us. We are here to make sure that we get the results they deserve. I know Zambians, we love football. And I know that we've been very disappointing the past few games, but we won't stop working hard. The hard work continues, and we'll definitely deliver and give them the results they deserve. And I'm very excited for this game and obviously the Africa Cup.
Now, Zimbabwe skipper Marvelous Nakamba preached a message of support as his side also jetted off to Morocco for AFCON. It's been a turbulent last 2 weeks for the Warriors, having initially sealed qualification for the continental competition, but failed in their attempt to secure a spot for the FIFA World Cup in Americas next year.
That's the main focus also for us as football players. We are going there to compete. So I think we just have to believe in ourselves, to give everything with the support also from you guys back home. I think they've been fantastic supporting the team. So now it's up to the players to push each other and fight for the flag of the country.
And finally, tennis. World number one Carlos Alcaraz has confirmed his parting ways with longtime coach Juan Carlos Ferrero, ending a hugely successful 7-year partnership. Under Ferrero, Alcaraz won 6 Grand Slam titles and 24 tour trophies, finishing 2025 as the world's top-ranked player. The Spaniard is looking forward to, taking on the assistant coach, Samuel Lopez, who is expected to step in. That's your sport. Step back at the top of the hour. I'm Zai Khan.
Good morning, I'm Anne Musa. In the headlines, President Cyril Ramaphosa has received the interim report of the Matlanga Commission of Inquiry into criminality, political interference and corruption in the criminal justice system. Johannesburg MMC for Public Safety Mgini Chwaku says police have identified a woman as a person of interest in the murder of Warwick Stock, popularly known as DJ Waras. The woman is alleged to have been a former tenant at the Zambezi building in the Johannesburg CBD, where DJ Waras was shot. And the Australian government has announced new laws against hate speech after 15 people were killed in Sydney in a mass shooting targeting an event marking Hanukkah, the Jewish festival of lights. I'll have details on these and other stories at 8.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Good morning. Couple of really big delays as we get through this Thursday. One is the run-in from Protea Glen up into Joburg, coming into the Lenasia area. There's some really severe flooding between the 558, that's the Impala Road, if you like, and the 554, the first of the Lenasia exits. It's about a 45-minute delay to get through there. If you're Protea Glen, just reroute yourself out through Soweto. If you're coming up from Potchefstroom, Fockville, just think about a reroute off at Protea Glen and hit some alternative routes. Avoid the worst of that N12. There's also queuing pressure quite heavy at Krasmere Plaza on your way out of Joburg this morning. Collision on Pretoria's Eskia and Pathleli coming into the city centre just by Moot Street up by Putco. Behind that, the Montpellier Highway backs all the way through to Bremer. So that's heavy. There's been a big crash in Hatfield, closing down Pretoria Street inbound near Jan Schober. So there's a heavy delay there as well. Durban, the earlier crash on the M13 going into Kloof is causing a delay from Hillcrest side. There's a massive delay from Keir Edge going up Cliffdale. It's the usual broken down vehicle in the roadworks, one lane open, and that traffic heading to Pietermaritzburg is absolutely solid. Cape Town looks all right. Just the standout there is the traffic popping up on 35th to Jan van Riebeeck as you come up to Elsie's and Parow into the roadwork area. With your traffic update, I'm Rob Byrne.
The business update on SAFM.
Good morning to you once again in Dowling. Let's start with mining. Anglotech is the latest to be born out of that process that's going on at Anglo. And they're off to a good start with approval in Canada.
Yeah. I mean, just a few weeks ago, we heard of shareholders, Anglo shareholders as well as tech shareholders, giving that deal the green light. This time around, the merger with tech resources has gotten another thumbs up from the Canadian government. Approval granted under the Investment Canada Act. Here's a major regulatory obstacle for the merger of equals announced in September and backed by shareholders, while competition reviews are still underway in other jurisdictions. Canadian decisions de-risks the transaction. Canada's clearance is tied to binding undertakings on governance, employment, and long-term capital investment. The merged company, known as Anglo-Tech, will be headquartered in Vancouver. Its top execs primarily based in Canada. Group has committed to invest at least $3.3 billion in Canada over the next 5 years, rising to a minimum of $7.2 billion over the next 15 years. A strong focus on copper and other critical minerals. Strategically, the deal supports Anglo-American shift away from commodities towards metals aligned with electrification and transition demand, increasing future growth profile.
Staying in that sector, tell me about Glencore snapping up another copper asset.
Glencore has agreed to acquire a copper project in southern Peru, marking rather the third copper transaction in the country in less than 2 weeks as miners accelerate efforts to secure the supply. Now, the commodities group is buying the project in the Cusco region from Japan's Pan Pacific Copper for an undisclosed amount. Now, Peru's government estimates that developing the mine would require investment of about $1.3 billion. Purchase follows two recent Peruvian deals. Canada's Rio 2 is acquiring the Condestable mine from Southern Peaks Mining for $241 million, while Fortescue has agreed to buy the remaining 64% stake in Alta Copper Corp, expanding beyond its core iron ore business. These deals come amid near record copper prices, driven by supply disruptions and the long lead times required to bring new mines into production. Glencore is expanding its footprint in Peru as part of a strategy to almost double global copper output despite regulatory delays and recurring community opposition.
What's moving and shaping the markets at this moment?
Zooming in on Asia first, markets slipping to the red 5, the Japanese Nikkei, which is down 0.8%. Sentiment has been skewed by concerns around tech valuation and that weighing on trade. Investors in Japan also eyeing the rate move from the Bank of Japan set to be delivered tomorrow. When talking central banks, investors also awaiting monetary policy announcements from the Bank of England and the European Central Bank also is likely to impact sentiment. Now, as we look ahead to those moves, US futures are mixed. Coming back home, stocks in the green as metal prices trended higher. Platinum price is boosted PGM miners and leading to a 1% yesterday's session. Then over into currency markets, the rand steady, still at that 16.77 mark to the dollar. Over in oil, politics in focus, tensions between Venezuela and the US keeping traders busy. That, of course, affecting the oil price. Are still seeing it trading below $50 per barrel.
Darling, buy a donkey. Let's talk once again just after 8:30.
You could spend 10 minutes trying to fix the office printer or get a 10-minute quote from Outsurance that could save you thousands on your car insurance. For her 2025 Hyundai Exter, 65-year-old Helena now pays only 398 Rand a month. And for her 2024 Haval H6 4x4, 50-year-old Priya pays just 1,178 Rand a month. Ready to get more out of your car insurance? SMS out to 30754. That's out to 30754. Outsurance, licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
This Monday evening at 7 on My Design Rules. It all comes down to this, the grand finale. The homes are complete, the designs revealed, and now the judges must decide who will walk away with the title and up to 600,000 Rand in cash. After weeks of pressure, passion, and creativity, everything they've done leads to this moment. Open up your everyday to the extraordinary with My Design Rules. Monday evenings at 7, repeat Saturdays at 2, Sundays at 4 p.m. only on S3.
At Auto & General, we understand your business is built on more than just vehicles. It's your stock, tools and equipment, and the premises where you work. Auto & General Business Insurance is designed for businesses like yours, protecting your assets against fire, theft, storms, and other unexpected events. To protect your livelihood, visit autogen.co.za and get an obligation-free business insurance quote. Auto & General, never not there. Auto & General is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's and C's online.
PVB want to collect maximum point to go as high on the log as possible. However, the Foals are convinced with quality football, they can negotiate a decent top half position. This is the Bundesliga. Football as it's meant to be. Do not miss out. Borussia Dortmund versus Borussia Mönchengladbach on Friday, 19th December at 9:30 p.m. Live on SABC Sport on TTT Channel 4 and SABC Plus. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
Call Thulasizwe now, 086 000 2032.
Yeah, so we've got a lot of reaction coming through to the conversation we had with the Deputy Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, Prince Zolile Burns Ngamashe, just talking about the deaths of initiates particularly in the Eastern Cape. He told us that the number has risen to 17 during this summer initiation season, and had some strong words about the role of the parents in that situation, and saying that much of the accountability and responsibility should start with the parents themselves. So let me take reactions. I'll pull myself back a little bit so that I hear from as many of you as possible, starting with Zoe out in King Williamstown. Good morning to you, Zoe.
Good morning, Thulas. How are you?
Very well. How are you? Please go ahead.
Yes, good, man. I was listening to Mr.
Mm.
Here where I am, yeah, there's never been any death since time immemorial. Now we here are wondering what it is that people are doing, what are not doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Even when I was in Western Cape, having an initiative committee, Western Cape is not the original place where the practice is done.
Yeah.
It was the people that were sitting with less, no death at all. We never experienced those kind of things. Something is wrong here with this government, the Eastern Cape. Yeah, I'm wondering, people have come to places where you can even see a road.
Yeah.
Where I am, I'm thinking that this is take an example. Yes, 1918, with a date. From those people up to now, there's not even, maybe he was bitten by a snake, the initiation was possible also not to say was a real story.
Yes.
But because we are bitten by a snake.
In the
there's
region
not
where
even
you are.
Are you there?
Yes, I'm there. I'm saying in the region where you are.
Possible to be bitten. Yeah, where I am here. In Tushane, we can say for him, in Tushane Tribal Council Authority, whether in Tushane it was the National Council. I'm telling you from that.
So what
Even now, I put there and this.
Zoe, I want to move on, but I want to hear from you. What is it that you do in your region, and what you did when you were involved within that committee when you were in the Western Cape, that means that young men are able to undertake this rite of passage safely and come back home safely, that the other regions that are struggling could learn from?
Thulas, it's negligence, man. It's not the it must be people visiting initiation sites. Initiation sites must know that initiation site, who is the leader and that initiation site, all the relevant people there. Where there's a need for water, those things must be made available, and communities, man, must be made to continuously visit the initiation site. The man that in other places, even the Ikangata is the nurse, traditional nurse, so called. Person who looks after the initiation, even sleep with them. Not here. Here, we don't sleep. The Ikangata does not even with the initiation. He visits them every morning, every evening, goes there. He lives in his house. But we don't have that here.
Yeah.
Get involved with people. Yeah. I
Please,
want to get myself involved.
Please do.
Yeah.
Please do get involved. Zoe, thank you for that. That communal approach to what is a significant and deeply entrenched tradition that is observed in many parts of the country. Ngonde in Cape Town. Good morning. Also on the same issue.
Thulasizwe. I'm a proud Xhosa man.
Yes.
Who did the tradition, in 1980. So 45 years ago, it would be. Thulas, let me first start by saying freedom of speech is like opening floodgates to irrigate the arid ground below. I'm saying that because the guy called Victor, commented on this issue.
Yes.
And I don't think he's got the wherewithal, the experience. But because freedom of speech is like, as I said, right? Now, my brother's son went to the traditional school there in PE, Rebecca. right? He was de facto Ikangata to his father. Ikangata and Ingalati. Ingalati, in simple English, is a boy, young boy, that normally brings food for the initiate, right? Ikangata will be the traditional name. But my father, who went with me in 1980, right? He knows exactly what Ikangata does, knows exactly what must be done, right? Right now in PE, in a place called Green Bushes, I understand they've got one big hut for the initiate. The Ikangata, right? As opposed to the previous guest, the Ikangata lives there with the initiate. It's not one Ikangata. I'm told there's about 5, right? So the chances of initiate dying is unlikely. Lastly, to us, my son, right? You'll be surprised to this, went to sit down, right, to be initiated in about 2009. And he went there with Figil and Balula. That's a story for another day, right? So before he went, as a father, I took him to the medical doctor in Guguletu, right? Because a certificate is needed by the traditional surgeon. Anyway, what this doctor told me, and in the presence of my son, informed me to tell my son not to have any fires in the bush. I did that when I was there. And so lastly, water I did not drink, but I drank something else that is normally there in the bush.
All right.
So, the father must be responsible, but where there's no father, the uncle must be responsible.
Gotcha. Ngonde, I've got to move on. Yes. Thank you for that. That's Ngonde out in Cape Town. Dinewo in the Northern Cape, something different on your mind. Is this the story around the Kenyans that have been deported? Good morning.
Good morning, President. Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. Did you choke just like me? I've been choking quite a bit. Yes.
At the US refugee program.
Yes.
Yeah, I often hear the people on the radio, especially Sophie Mukwena, saying that in order to be a refugee, you should not apply for a refugee while you are still in your country. I guess maybe I assume maybe she's referencing to UN law or maybe South African law. But under US law, it's total different scenario because the refugee, according to their law, someone who is located outside of their country, meaning that you should apply for it whilst you're still outside. And when you are accepted, that's when you could come to their country.
I see. So you're saying in terms of their law, it is possible to apply to be a refugee while you are still in the country from which you are ostensibly running from persecution?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Dinewo, thank you for that. I really don't know much about US law and how they handle these things, but I think as a matter of practice, most refugees don't have the luxury to be applying from a place where they are being persecuted. Usually, they just arrive at the border and say, you know what the situation is in my country, and therefore I'm here seeking refuge. But I don't dispute what you are saying there, Dinewo, about how the United States does it. They do a lot of things differently. So yeah. I can't comment intelligently. I think the commentary about the ordinary experience is based on ordinary experiences in countries that are in conflict in various parts of the world, where you don't have the luxury to go to a visa processing center, refugee processing center, or an embassy in the country where you are being persecuted. Usually, you get out by any means possible and you present yourself at the border the next border. It's called the principle of non-refoulement in international law, that when a person arrives at the border and they say, I'm fleeing persecution based on various grounds, religious, cultural, etc., etc., the country is at war, non-refoulement says you don't turn that person back. You have a duty to receive them when they are claiming asylum. That's why in this country, you let them into the country, give them 5 days to report to a refugee reception center, at which point then you assess the merits or otherwise of their claim to refugee status. But as I say, Dineo, that's just here in South Africa and perhaps a number of other countries. As you say, maybe in the US, they do it differently.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Good morning. A couple of big ones worth avoiding. One is the run into Pretoria, coming in off the N4 and N1 onto Pretoria Street. A big crash near Jan Scherber, right in the heart of Hatfield. And that traffic that is Pretoria Central bound on Pretoria Street is heavily backed up. You might want to choose an alternative to work around that. Earlier, collision on Eskia and Pathleli has been cleared. That traffic starting to flow, although it has left a backlog on the mighty Mopani Highway. Joburg, the standout is really the one coming in from Protea Glen towards Lenasia, and this is worth avoiding. The N12 is flooded between the 558, that's Impala Drive at Protea Glen, and the 554, the first of the Lenasia exit. About a 40-minute delay, 40 minutes to get through that Protea Glen exit on your way to Joburg. Obviously, an idea there would be the off-ramp at Protea Glen and just work through Soweto or down through Lenasia as your alternatives. Big delays out of Durban through to Pietermaritzburg with the first of today's breakdowns at Cliffdale. Very heavy backlog all the way back to Key Ridge and just sort of working back towards that M13 join. It is bad. And then Cape Town this morning, not a bad run, much lighter than it was even yesterday. South Peninsula at this stage looks okay. It will be busy today, though. Fine weather expected. The standout for Cape Town motorists is 35th Avenue onto Jan van Riebeeck. The roadworks are still there. They're long term. If you're on your way to Parow, it is slower than you might be expecting. Rob Byrne, SAFM Traffic.
You could spend 10 minutes trying to fix the office printer, or get a 10-minute quote from Outsurance that could save you thousands on your car insurance. SMS out to 30754. Like 65-year-old Helena, who now pays an incredibly low 398 Rand a month for her 2025 Hyundai Exter. With Outsurance, you get the legendary Out Bonus that pays you a percentage of your premiums back if you're claim-free. SMS out to 30754. After switching, 48-year-old Felicity now pays only 836 Rand a month for her 2020 Hyundai Tucson. Outsurance will either save you money on your car insurance or give you cash. If Outsurance can't beat what you're currently paying, ask them for 500 Rand. Make that 1,500 Rand if you've been claim-free and with the same insurer for 3 years. Savings or cash, you have nothing to lose. SMS out to 30754. That's out to 30754. Outsurance, licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Through the door, to we buy cars we go. Gonna treat myself this year, the prices are so low. We buy cars, we buy cars, we buy all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a new car today. We buy cars, we sell all the way. Saving so much money feels like another holiday.
Ho, ho, ho. We buy cars, the most festive way to sell and buy your car by far.
Across South Africa, online and on radio. SAFM, let's talk.
It's coming up to 5 minutes to 8. A nationwide snapshot of the country's water quality has revealed alarming levels of contamination with E. coli detected in up to 2/3 of tested samples. The findings raise serious public health concerns, including the safety of household drinking water. Activists say failing sewage and wastewater systems are at the heart of the crisis. Let's speak to Dr. Ferial Adam, Executive Director of WaterCan, also an environmental justice activist. Good morning to you, Doc, and thank you for your time. So tell me about the samples that you took. You took quite a large number of samples, and what did you do with them, and what did you find?
So, good morning, and thank you for having me on your show. We used citizen science testing kits. So we use them as an indicator testing kit that can give you the quality of the drinking water that we have. We issued out 500 of these testing kits across the country.
And over a week, people had to test, and then the results are met.
And what did they reveal in various parts of the country as far as the water quality and contamination is concerned?
So in quite a number of we're not surprised by the tests that were taken in rivers and dams and open water sources because we know that a lot of those are polluted. So we weren't surprised by those. And then also we found some taps, not too many, but also a lot of Jojo tanks that were polluted. Now, not surprising. I think that we have a Jojo tank, we rather treat it regularly and clean it out. And obviously, if it's just sitting there over and over, the news that it has bacteria in it. So we found that the species were, in the big cities, things were more or less fine. There weren't any concerns. So the ones that we did find in City Joburg were unsafe Jojo tanks. So that was what we found, and that makes sense. But in a lot of the, when you start going outside, like in the Citibank municipality in KwaZulu-Natal, there were samples of unsafe substances, and even in Mpumalanga, Limpopo. So those were not surprising because if you look at the Blue Drop report in 2023, it tells us that almost half of the drinking water is not drinkable. What this does is it shows us that it hasn't improved. That we, in 2023, Blue Drop report shows us what we're seeing with the test is that there's no improvement at municipal level, and that a lot of people are still drinking water that actually is not fit for drinking.
It's important, is it not, Dr. Adam, the what of it, the what pollutes, what contaminates the water is important. E. coli. What does that say, and how does it fit in with our understandings of our wastewater treatment plants across the country?
So yeah, I mean, I think so. If we find E. coli in tap water, it's a very big concern. We found total coliform, so not all the tap water had E. coli. It was unsafe for drinking. But it had coliform, so that could be from anything like dead plants, dead animals that got into the pipe, and human waste, etc. So there's a combination of things. As I said, this is an indicator test, and municipalities need to look. But if you have E. coli in their tap water, and we've seen this recently, you are putting people's lives at risk. I mean, 600,000 people in the world die annually from drinking water polluted with E. coli. So it is a very big concern, and it is something that municipalities should take quite seriously.
And how important is this feature of the work that you do with this particular exercise, that it is undertaken by community members? You issue out these test kits. What snapshot does it give you of the situation as it manifests at the coalface of where people are?
So it can preempt any disasters, and it can pick up things before they happen. While municipalities are supposed to test, and they do test in most instances, they do not release the results publicly. And we think people have a right to know. So the test at a local level where communities are involved creates an awareness around water. People want to save their water more. They want to be more involved in working with water, and I think that is important. But I think it is, the test start the discussion, and it can make good awareness around areas where people are getting ill. So, sometimes when people drink water, they get ill and they just accept it as that's how it is. It shouldn't be that way. And so these tests can alert relatives, it can alert communities to live to the type of water that they drink.
All right, let's leave it there for this morning. Thank you. Dr. Ferial Adam is Executive Director at Watercare and also an environmental justice activist. Let's go to N. Musa on standby with the latest news.
In our top stories, President Ramaphosa receives first findings from the Matlanga inquiry, and Australia announces a crackdown on hate speech after Bondi shooting. Good morning. President Cyril Ramaphosa has received the interim report of the Matlanga Commission of Inquiry into criminality, political interference and corruption in the criminal justice system. The handing over of the interim report to President Ramaphosa marks 3 months since the KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi took to the stand at the Bridget Mabandla Justice College in September. Presidential spokesperson Vincent Magwenya says the president has expressed his appreciation for the interim report.
President Ramaphosa will study the interim report while the commission, which is in recess, prepares to hear further testimony from new witnesses or persons who have previously testified. The president has expressed his appreciation for the interim report, as well as his expectation that the commission will, as part of its terms of reference, refer actions thought to be criminal acts for prosecution.
Patriotic Alliance Member of Parliament Ashley Sauls believes more needs to be done to protect whistleblowers and key witnesses for the country to defeat corruption. Sauls, who also sits in the Parliamentary Ad hoc Committee investigating Mkhwanazi's allegations, attended the funeral service of slain former Ekurhuleni Metro Police officer Marius van der Merwe. Van der Merwe was known as Witness D when he testified about the happenings at the Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department at the Matlanga Commission in November. He was assassinated over a week ago. His funeral was yesterday in Brakpan, east of Johannesburg. Sauls elaborates.
Well, of course, government needs to do more. We need to start prioritizing those that are doing good for our country. That should be our priority. We can invest in so many other things. As you know, corruption takes billions from our country. And those, we should start prioritizing those who are standing up against these corrupt acts and that are seeking to protect the wealth of our country. We should invest in them.
Johannesburg MMC for Public Safety Mgcini Chwakus says police have identified a woman as a person of interest in the murder of Warwick Stock, popularly known as DJ Waras. The woman is alleged to have been a former tenant at the Zambezi building in the Johannesburg CBD where DJ Waras was shot. Police have launched a manhunt for the suspects involved in his murder on Tuesday. 5 people have been taken in for questioning so far. Chwakus says police are working around the clock to get to the bottom of the case.
There's a woman as well cited to be the kingpin, and is cited also in the protection order. So the woman is a woman of interest. There's a committee there that has been threatening Wallace, hence he had to go and get the protection order. Those women, so it's a committee. They've been intimidating the security guys there. Like they've been threatening them to burn down the building. They've been threatening to eliminate those security officers. That's why we're saying that we're taking everyone for questioning.
Johannesburg City Manager Floyd Brink says recent Rand water maintenance had a widespread impact on the city's water network, affecting several interconnected systems, which led to reduced reservoir levels in some areas. He was speaking during a media briefing in Midrand, where officials provided an update on recovery efforts following the first phase of the maintenance. Brink says the pressure on the system forced the city to implement controlled shutdowns to protect critical infrastructure.
The Johannesburg water network was also reduced, and at some stages, some of it was also stopped. And this also affected multiple interconnected systems, including One Palmit, the Swartkopis, Eikonof, and all of that then also affected your Sandton area, Midrand, as well as your central networks. As a result of this, some of our reservoir levels have dropped to constrained and in some cases critical operating levels, requiring controlled shutdowns for us in the city.
Further afield, and finally, the Australian government has announced new laws against hate speech after 15 people were killed in Sydney in a mass shooting targeting event marking Hanukkah, the Jewish festival of lights. Speaking at a media briefing, the Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said his government will introduce the first ever legislation in Australia targeting extremist preachers. The BBC's Phil Messer has the details.
This is a multiple point plan by the Prime Minister to combat what he described as the evil scourge of extremism. So there will be a crackdown on hate speech, on radical preachers, and also the potential for people caught transgressing to have their visas cancelled if they are not Australian citizens. So this clearly is another part of the political consequences of what happened here at Bondi Beach on Sunday.
Recapping the top story, President Cyril Ramaphosa has received the interim report of the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry into criminality, political interference, and corruption in the criminal justice system. For SAFM News, I am Anne Musa.
A very good morning to you. In your SFM Sports headlines, we're building up on as Bafana back themselves under pressure as the countdown continues. And in cricket action, the Proteas T20 hope dented. Dangerous smog disrupts their series clash in India. We'll bring you the details just before 8:30.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Good morning. Heavy delays on the Potch Highway. The N12 coming in from Protea Glen, heading towards Joburg. It's pretty severe flooding that's closing lanes between Impala Drive, the Protea Glen exit, and the first of the Lenasia exits, the 554. About a 40-minute queue to get through there. You'll be able to get through, but it is sort of one vehicle at a time and big volume as well. We did have some delays down at Crossmere Plaza. If you're heading out of Joburg on your way down to Bloemfontein, just expect some delays as you get into that plaza area. Pretoria Street heading into Hatfield off the highway networks. Really big delays. That's Pretoria bound. A big crash right in the heart of Hatfield causing that backlog. And heading out of Durban towards Pietermaritzburg, stationary truck at Cliffdale. Massive queue of traffic all the way back through Key Ridge, back to the M13 joint. Be worth travelling later or just avoiding that altogether. JG Champion out of Palm View towards the R102 is quite busy. And Cape Town very easy on the highways this morning. Just that bottleneck on 35th Avenue into the roadworks on the Unfun Rubik into Parow. With your traffic update, I'm Rob Byrne.
The Morning Brief with Thulasizwe Simelane. Weekdays, Monday to Friday, 6 to 9 a.m. The Morning Brief with Thulasizwe Simelane. Weekdays, Monday to Friday, 6 to 9 a.m.
What's that they say about time, what it does when you're having fun? It seems to be one of those situations. Would you look at that? We are into the third hour of the Morning Brief on this Thursday. It is great to be in your company. As I always do at the start of this hour, I reflect on some of the messages that you've been sending us because, of course, we want to allow for multiple streams for us to be able to engage with you in those conversations that move us, as we say, as is the mantra of this particular station. Earlier on, I was in conversation with Donovan E. Williams, social commentator and columnist, and we were talking in our international update about Trump and the escalating tension with Venezuela and what he calls a total and complete blockade of sanctioned oil tankers entering or leaving Venezuela. Khalid wants to weigh in on that, and Khalid says on the WhatsApp line, Donovan hit the nail on the head. The cannibalistic nature of capitalism gave America Trump and gave the world his ire. To deflect from drama at home, and Khalid says in brackets there, Epstein, he causes a ruckus abroad. But make no mistake, all of this is the dying gasp of an empire, including Israel's apartheid, all to target China. If you ever have the opportunity, go visit, says Khalid there, weighing in on that earlier conversation that we had. And then in the second hour of the show, we spoke to Deputy Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, Prince Zolile Burns Nqamashe, and we were talking about the death of 17 initiates during the summer initiation season. He didn't pull any punches and firmly put the view across that he believes parents should be taking greater responsibility for this situation than they are. So Zola Edwana from Duduza says, sorry, that deputy minister is talking nonsense. The problem is that in the Eastern Cape, these problems happen in the regions of Amaxhosa, Amampondo, and they do not happen Kumahlubi in places like Matatiele and Sterskspruit. they should go there and find what it is that they are doing right, says Zola Edwana. Zola, thank you for that. I wish you had gone a bit further to share with us some of those lessons, because there does seem to be a regional, I wouldn't put it higher than that, a regional difference in terms of the incidence of deaths during the initiation season that you tend to observe. And I think I posed the question, but the deputy minister was fully charged, right? Was fully charged with everything else that he wanted to talk to. So I don't think we really got to grappling with the regional differences, including differences between how the practice is carried out in the Eastern Cape versus other parts of the country, your Limpopo and parts of Mpumalanga. But he did make the point that he sought to make. Mthunzi says, shocking, Deputy Minister blaming parents of the initiates. Some boys get abducted by some of the bogus initiation schools. I'm yet to hear of a prison sentence of these so-called surgeons. With time, more parents will take their boys to hospitals to save their boys, says Mthunzi there, weighing in and holding a differing view to what was expressed by the Deputy Minister Zolile Burns Namashe. Lastly, let me read this message. It's from Lindiwe, who says, in the UK, Australia, etc., foreign tourists or students are monitored and don't overstay their welcome. In sleepy South Africa, there are hundreds of foreigners who came under the pretense of being tourists or students or have overstayed for years because their movements are not monitored, says Lindy Wedem. All right, thank you for that. Keep them coming. The number to dial 086 000 2032. 086 000 2032. Your WhatsApp voice notes 0614 104 107. Let's get into it. The third hour of the morning brief on this Thursday.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable. You receive up to 745,000 Rand worth of legal services per year. Our range of plans include cover for you, your spouse, children, and extended family. Plans include cover for civil, criminal, and labor-related matters. Whether it's protection orders, gender-based violence, uncontested divorce, or poor service, your Clientele Legal lawyer will be there to assist you. Our services are convenient. Simply pick up the phone and call your lawyer or send us an email and we'll get back to you. All plans include a bail benefit of up to 5,000 Rand and we'll go to the police station and pay it for you. Plus, Clientele Legal offers you 24-hour telephonic legal advice. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Pep Guardiola's boys are convinced victory will be a good festive gift to their fans.
Hits it in towards Haaland. Haaland scores! Cross in the area. Ibrahima Konate misses the ball. Haaland scores!
However, the Hammers are confident that the citizens will not enjoy home ground advantage.
French shots maybe. And that's a good try, and Wilson scores! Against his former club. Petrovic couldn't keep it out. And West Ham with perhaps their first attack.
This is the Premier League. Catch Manchester City versus West Ham United on Saturday, 20 December at 4:30 p.m. Live on SABC Plus and SABC 3. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport. For the love of the game.
Thulasizwe Simelane on SAFM.
14 minutes after 8. I keep wondering, given the time of year in which we are, do you really need the time check? Or is Monday the same as Sunday, the same as Tuesday? Or are you just like me, still at it, yet to take the break? Anyway, it's now 8:15. Enough about that. Let me move on. The University of KwaZulu-Natal's Student Representative Council, the SRC, has launched its 2026 SRC Trust Fund campaign to prevent students from being excluded due to unpaid registration fees. The initiative targets financially vulnerable and self-funded students. Demand for assistance continues to rise sharply year on year. The SRC says access to education should not be determined by a student's bank balance. Let's take the conversation forward. I'm joined by Lonwabo Xolo, Treasurer General of the University of KwaZulu-Natal's Student Representative Council. Good morning, and thank you for your time this morning. So this is an initiative that you've been running for quite some time. Tell us what brought this about and what problem you saw that you're wanting to fix with this trust fund.
Oh, thank you very much for having me, and good morning to you too. So, reason why being got founded from the start was alleviate the burden to students financially and students in circumstances. So essentially, the reason continuing with the campaign is to ensure that as many times, as much time as needed, is to ensure that none of our people, because these are brothers and sisters, people in the so that none of them are wrong. Education is very good.
And where are the vulnerabilities for exclusion? Where did you identify them in terms of the various student segments, right? You've got the self-funded students, you've got students that are on NSFAS. Which students are more vulnerable that you're seeking to target?
Okay, so the most vulnerable, you find that especially with missing leaders, right? You find that they are the people that struggle the most when it comes to covering their fees. Come with the grace period, essentially the most critical period in the course of the year. Those students are at highest risk of financial institutions. So when it comes to addressing the vulnerability, it's self-funded students, people in covered by self also and even
Yeah, as a recently, I don't know, graduated self-funding student, I can attest to that, just the difficulty. And I had the fortune of being someone who's employed, let alone then someone who, as you say, is in that missing middle. Tell me about what you do with the trust fund and the kind of support that you then get that enables you to assist with those registration fees.
Okay, so essentially with the trust fund, further cover the registration fees, and really cover the cost which whoever should have covered. We do get
And Lonabo, in terms of the support that you get from various players and sectors in society, how strong is that support? And also, I suppose the bigger question is this a pathway to a more sustainable solution that maintains the access for deserving students and ensures that, no one gets excluded while at the same time maintaining the financial viability of universities?
Oh, thank you for that question. On analysis, the support hasn't been and we as a person that has come in, one of our plans is to ensure that we do something more sustainable, revenue generating. And the previous previously the previous and the previous and how the trust fund is being able to assist students. That is essentially systems that we do with students to cover the students. So that did call for us to come up with more innovative solutions to ensure that the trust fund is more sustainable. Okay. Okay, thank you. In the top one.
All right, thank you for that important conversation, Lonwabo Xolo, Treasurer General of the University of KwaZulu-Natal's Student Representative Council. It's an important conversation, especially in the context, as Lonwabo was pointing out there, of the missing middle. You've got those students who are on NSFAS, and we've covered extensively the problems that many of them have encountered over the years. But, that's a cohort that at least, on paper at least, there's provision for how to fund their fees. Then you've got that gap that we were talking about, that whose parents earn more than the threshold per annum to qualify for NSFAS, but are not really wealthy people. They're not rich people, such that paying all these university fees is not an issue for them. That's where the gap is. That's where a lot of students get into distress and face all sorts of difficulties at the start of every academic year.
Pep Guardiola's boys are convinced victory will be a good festive gift to their fans.
Hits it in towards Haaland. Haaland scores! Cross in the area. Ibrahima Kanate misses the ball. Haaland scores!
However, the Hammers are confident that the citizens will not enjoy home ground advantage.
French shots maybe. And that's a good try, and Wilson scores! Against his former club. Petrovic couldn't keep it out. And West Ham with perhaps their first attack.
This is the Premier League. Catch Manchester City versus West Ham United on Saturday, 20 December at 4:30 p.m. Live on SABC Plus and SABC 3. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport. For the love of the game.
This festive season, the Department of Transport is appealing to all drivers, passengers and pedestrians. Obey the rules of the road and ensure your vehicle is roadworthy. In the past few days alone, over 2,500 vehicles stopped at roadblocks were found with worn-out tires. Tires in poor condition are extremely dangerous, especially at high speed, where a blowout can cause fatal crashes. Drivers, please check your vehicles before you travel. Brought to you by the Department of Transport, moving South Africa forward.
South Africa, this is Dr. Kumalo. The wait is finally over.
My name is Walter Steenborg. The wait is finally over.
My name is Tabiso Mosia. The wait is finally over. AFCON 2025 kicks off on the 21st of December until the 18th of January 2026. It is game on everywhere. Catch 52 live matches across SABC2 on all your favorite SABC radio stations and streaming live on SABC Plus.
Feel every goal, cheer every victory, and celebrate Bafana Bafana with the nation.
SABC Sport is the official broadcaster
of AFCON 2025.
Call Thulasizwe now, 086 000 2032.
Yeah, let's go to your voice notes and also one or two of your calls. A lot of people, as I said, responding to the conversation with Deputy Minister Zolile Burns Ngamashe about some of the causes and the responsibility that he believes parents of initiates should take for the welfare of their children when they go for that rite of passage, but also for what then transpires, such issues as dehydration, which is one of the leading causes, we understand, of initiate deaths. This idea that they are discouraged in some of the initiation schools from drinking water. The other one is septicemia, is what he alluded to, in saying that parents and male figures in particular need to be playing a bigger role. So let me play a few voice notes before I go to Luvo in Gqeberha.
Hi, Thulas. So the deputy minister is not well versed at all. I'm not sure if he's studying questions or he just didn't know how to answer them. I can't understand how he can entirely blame us to us. But he's not taking any responsibility as government. So if what is his role? What is he doing? What measures has he put in place? I'm not impressed. Thank you, Thulas. Stogazi from Joburg.
Morning, Thulas, and your guest. Your guest is lying. Your guest is lying. Some of the things are law. I think everyone knows who was there. That part of the water, it's a law there. He must not lie about the father of the boy and said he instructed. There's no such a father who can give such an instruction. Those things are law which are there. And mostly can I tell you with Eastern Cape, these guys, they don't care about these young people's life. I'm living here recently. I see what is happening. The chief must talk the truth there. They don't care about these young people's life. Mr. Nomlan, Abani, thank you.
Right, thank you for that. Luvo in Gqeberha. Good morning to you, Luvo.
Good morning, Thulasizwe. I like the name Thulasizwe.
Thank you.
Thulasizwe, the truth must be told.
Ah.
We as people, we are moving times. Now, when we are moving times, things are changing, are evolving.
Mm-hmm.
Things have evolved. We are moving times. You know, this is something you think. Of course, we must sit down and discuss about it. It's not worth it anymore. I'm a proud Xhosa. I was there also, but it's not worth it anymore because Xhosas, we don't know how to do it anymore. I'll make an example here in PE. The initiatives, they have been seen by nurses, by male nurses. How in there? Now, male nurses come in, the government, so-called government is coming and intervene. We need to fix it one day because without moaning, but what is it? What is it? You know, one day, next year, you know, come wait for what people take your people in here, comes the body. He can be the body.
Yeah. Yeah.
Leave it to you. The Thulasizwe.
Luvo, thank you for that. I appreciate that. That's Luvo out in Gqeberha weighing in on the initiation season and the customs and traditions that go with it, because circumcision is a part of that whole initiation into manhood. There's a whole sacred process that is involved there. So I think maybe it's about grappling with the holistic picture. And I am not well versed in those things, so I will leave it there and I'll take more of your calls and WhatsApp voice notes a bit later on.
This is SAFM Sport with Sai Khan.
It's a very good morning to you. Let's head straight to our AFCON build-up with Bafana Bafana. They've netted off to Morocco, confident they're ready for the challenge of the matches ahead. Head coach Hugo Bruce says his squad has shown they can cope under pressure, pointing to key World Cup qualifiers where the team delivered when it matters most. South Africa opened their Group B campaign against Angola on Monday in Marrakesh. You can catch the action live on SABC Sport. Now, the Zimbabwe captain, Marvelous Nakamba, says belief and unity will be key for them as the Warriors prepare for AFCON 2025. It's been a turbulent build-up for Zimbabwe. They missed out on World Cup qualification, undergoing a coaching change with Mario Maranika replacing Michael Ness and entering the tournament as underdog. But Nakamba believes the squad is focused, ready for their tough Group B opener against Egypt.
Yeah, of course. I think football is about competition. I think each and every group is tough. Of course, we're playing against Egypt's first match, Angola, and USA. But I think we just have to focus on ourselves, to have a great game plan, and to push each other and fight for the country.
Meanwhile, Nigeria are hoping to revive their World Cup qualification hopes after lodging a complaint with FIFA alleging that DR Congo fielded ineligible players in last month's African playoff final. DR Congo beat the Super Eagles on penalties in Morocco to book a place in March's intercontinental qualifiers, where the final two World Cup spots will be decided. Nigeria claim centers on players who recently switched allegiance, including Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Axel Twanzebe, arguing Congolese law does not allow dual citizenship. However, the Congolese Football Federation has strongly rejected the allegations. Elsewhere, former Uruguay striker Luis Suarez has signed a new contract with Inter Miami for the upcoming MLS season. Suarez, who turns 39 in January, joined Lionel Messi in 2024 and played a key role in their historic 2025 campaign, helping secure the Eastern Conference title and the MLS Cup. And finally, boxing, Tyson Fury has branded Anthony Joshua a classless loser in a social media outburst ahead of Joshua's bout against YouTuber Jake Paul. Fury has hinted at a long-awaited all-British heavyweight showdown next year and took aim at Joshua ahead of tomorrow night's fight in Miami. It will be Joshua's first bout since his knockout loss to Daniel Dubois at Wembley in September 2024. We'll be back with more sports in the boxing ring. John Fediker around 12:30. I'm Zai Khan.
Good morning, I'm Anne Musa. In the headlines, a 34-year-old man believed to be a taxi driver has been shot and killed in Seawinds in Cape Town. Police say the motive for the attack is still unknown. President Cyril Ramaphosa has received the interim report of the Matlanga Commission of Inquiry looking into criminality, political interference and corruption in the criminal justice system. And the World Health Organization has begun a 3-day global conference on traditional medicine in the Indian capital, Delhi. The aim is to make centuries-old practices more compatible with modern healthcare systems. I'll have details on these and other stories at 9.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Well, the big problem this morning has been this N12 coming into Joburg from Protea Glen and Lenasia. It's the flooding. It's really severe delays. A short time ago, we had traffic moving 5 kilometres an hour, stuck in a queue that extended for about an hour. So coming up from those Sasol garages on the Potch Highway through the Protea Glen exit and up to that first Lenasia off-ramp, very heavy. You've got options to reroute either north through Soweto or south through Lenasia as your alternatives. If you aim for the 554 as your on-ramping route, that will be... that would be safe. You could get out of Soweto or out of Lenasia on the 554 and hook back into the highway network. Coming into Pretoria out of Atteridgeville, just factor in some queues on WFN Como this morning. That's quite heavy. Just by Little Manhattan is the location. Going out of Durban to Pietermaritzburg, long backlog of traffic from Shongweni up Keir Edge and in towards Cliffdale. Usual problem with a broken down truck in amongst the construction works there. It really is jam-packed. And of course, it's wet there and wet everywhere across KZN. So drive carefully. Lots of bumps and shunts that we're seeing this morning, literally everywhere. Cape Town, pretty easy conditions, with the exception of the elevated freeway. Just a bit of hold up as you go over the foreshore into city centre territory. With the traffic update, I'm Rob Byrne.
The business update on SAFM.
Dowling, good morning to you once again. Let's talk inflation. Tell me about what it was doing in the month of November.
So we saw inflation slowing last month, offering some relief and strengthening the case for easier monetary policy moving forward. Now, headline consumer inflation is 3.5% year on year, from 3.6% in October, marking its first moderation in 3 months. Cooling was driven by a drop in fuel prices due to transport costs and helped push overall prices slightly lower on a month-on-month basis. While this provided short-term relief, pressure points remain. Food inflation continues to tick higher, with meat prices continuing to rise at a double-digit pace, this underscoring ongoing supply challenges of the foot and mouth disease. Our measures of underlying inflation remained relatively stable. Core inflation is up slightly, reflecting the cost linked to housing and municipal charges. So, economists argue the broader trend is favorable, supported by a stronger rand and lower oil prices. With inflation price growth predicted to remain close to that 2% target, analysts see scope for the stock to continue cutting rates in early 2026.
Why is Jubilee Metals in a spot of bother? Why are they slipping into the red?
Yeah. So Jubilee really battling with power and infrastructure disruptions in Zambia, with hit copper production posted tax loss of $28.5 million from continuing operations, reversing a prior year profit after copper output fell 35%. Setback hit Jubilee as it was repositioning itself as a copper miner, moving into South African chrome and PPM businesses. Conditions have since stabilized, though, and so likely to see a better performance in 2020. Private power purchase agreement has been secured to restore reliability, energy reliability that is at Ruan and stable operations, which would of course drive a recovery in output in the new financial year. First quarter production already jumped 65% to 938 tons with no material power interruptions. On the back of that, we set production guidance of 4,500 to 5,100 tons for the year year to end in 2026, and said it remains on track to complete its disposal of the South African operations before the end of this year.
All right, lastly, Dowling, wrap it up for us, everything you've told us, and project ahead in terms of the kind of trading day we can expect.
The local markets are likely in the green just on the back of higher metal prices. Over in the currency scene, Rand continues to trade at a three-year high. It's at 15.77 against the greenback. Over in commodities, Brent trading at $59.50 a barrel. Traders expect prices to tick higher though, as the U.S. blockade of Venezuela country production, weighing oversupply fears. This, however, would have a negative impact on Venezuela's exports and economy. Coming back to the equity market stateside, futures are mixed. Investors buying central bank moves and dumping AI-related stocks double shares. That's of course in Asia. Those markets trading mostly in the red today.
All right, Dowling, thank you for today. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Dowling Lechela has kept you updated on business, economics, and the markets.
This Monday evening at 7 on My Design Rules. It all comes down to this, the grand finale. The homes are complete, the designs revealed, and now the judges must decide who will walk away with the title and up to 600,000 Rand in cash. After weeks of pressure, passion, and creativity, everything they've done leads to this moment. Open up your everyday to the extraordinary with My Design Rules. Monday evenings at 7, repeat Saturdays at 2, Sundays at 4 p.m. only on S3.
Five teams, one epic journey. No flights, no smartphones, just grit, maps, and pure determination. Race Across the World Season 3 is back, and the stakes have never been higher. From bustling cities to remote villages, who will conquer the chaos and cross the finish line first? Thursdays at 6 p.m. only on S3.
SAFM. Prime time all day long.
It's coming up to 21 minutes to 9. Let's turn to this now. It's the festive season, and we're told that this season sometimes can be a peak period for home burglaries as criminals actively target properties they believe to be empty. Security experts warn that poorly secured homes are especially vulnerable during holiday travel. The good news is that with proper planning, risks can be significantly mitigated and reduced. A layered security approach, we're told, can help homeowners live with peace of mind. So, what does a layered security approach look like? Let's speak to Mike Bolhayes, who is a security expert, to weigh in on that. Mike, good morning, and thank you for your time this morning. So,
morning, man. Morning. Thanks for the opportunity.
Sure. So, when we talk about security threats and concerns, burglaries and the likes around the festive season, is that backed up by data that, around this time we do see a spike, or is it something that we believe to be the case, but, is not necessarily backed up by the trends?
No, it's backed up. It's factual. You hear it in the streets, you hear it in the corridors, you hear it before. There is a concern from people. It's on social media. There are CAS numbers, police case numbers, or insurance claims. There's a lot of information out there that shows that all holiday season, there's the spike in theft. And remember, not only thefts at the people's properties where they've left, which is their own properties and their business, but also being maybe robbed where they go on holidays. Many are caught with scams. They go to places which they thought they've booked, they've never verified it, and then when they get there, it's no man's land. Many are people, cell phones, handbags, and other stuff that get stolen at where they
Yeah.
find themselves. So what I'm saying is the crime of robbery and house robbery is wherever you find yourself, and then it spikes in during the holiday season.
What about the season drives all of that?
Um, Obviously, criminals are opportunistic. I mean, it's much better to rob a house when there's nobody in, and it is much better to rob people that is not familiar with their vicinity where they find themselves. Must remember that people leave from a place which they understand, which they know, where they live, they know the streets, shops, malls, they know everything there in that area. Then they go to KZN or any place in the coast where they go maybe once or twice a year, maybe the same follow that thing every year to the same place, but still in a place where they're absolutely familiar with. They get caught off guard. That's why we warn you don't wear expensive jewelry, don't do the Kardashian move and draw all the attention with expensive stuff. Careful with groceries, don't leave stuff in your car. You can see, make sure your place is locked up properly because even the monkeys can come in and when you come back, they've raided all your groceries. And obviously, also when you're in the sun, we warn the people nowadays, in the sun, the
Yeah.
UV rays is really bad. You must look after your skin. So, a lot of things that you need to consider. But coming back to crime, it is opportunistic
Mhm.
and also be planned because they get the information beforehand.
So, Mike, we say in the introduction, I was saying that you in the security industry and experts in that area recommend a layered security approach. What does that look like, firstly, for when you're leaving home and you're going on holiday and your home is going to be empty for a week or two?
Yeah. So what we do is we start warning, and all the other authorities do, even the police, from about November. And I mean, it's the narrative. Uh, Whenever the authorities talk, I would say, make sure and we do that in projects. We are the core on all the radios, TV, everywhere, that you should make sure that when you leave, that your dogs and cats are fed, that your garden is looked after, that your neighbors that you trust know, you have a good relationship with the security. This is have conflict during the year, trigger lights, movement in your house, people going in and out, checking stuff, and a good relationship with the police, good relationships just make such a difference, and all looking out for each other, and then obviously being very vigilant, those who are staying behind, preferably having somebody staying in your house, alarm system and everything and all, especially at night, must be 100%. And then when leaving, obviously, as I've said, you must make sure everything is left behind secure. Wherever you find yourself, the same. Where you come to a place, make sure you make use of the safe, got a weapon, put it in the safe. If you do carry weapon, follow the protocol. Hijacks, robberies, attacks, anything can happen anywhere. And those who carry weapons, I always warn them. And documents, I'll send you guys the newest and latest weapons and security
Right.
issues that need to be dealt with on your platform. But you have to be positively paranoid wherever you find yourself.
Positively paranoid, you say?
You must be wake up. You must be being eyes around your head, not only in front. You have to be careful.
Are there practices that we can, I don't know, adopt, Mike, that would enhance our safety. Practices around how we share on social media, practices about maintenance of our homes, just from an aesthetic perspective and what it represents, issues around lighting as well as delivery of the post, how frequently that is removed.
Yeah, look, you've said it, and also the best is to have movement in your property. Obviously, if you can have somebody stay there, or your own security guard would be good, but security and being visible action from the house side will make a huge difference. You have it, don't have super gate security. You don't have, we're talking about the haves here, not poor. Unfortunately, the poor also get robbed because they hang their clothes out or their shoes or whatever, and that gets many times forget how many poor people get robbed. They get witnessed, they get by other corrupt cops again. The spike of crimes against the poor people is enormous during the holidays. They also go home, and when they come back, they zinc, whatever they have it. These stories are never told. That is so true. Anyway, whoever listens, whether you poor or whether you're rich, you have whatever you have because it's valuable to you, with preferably person checking it out, making sure it works. I want to add one thing to security when you're on holiday and wherever, and you practice it during the year, and that's when you drive by car and you lock your car. You must make sure that when your remote, because people stand and they show with their hand in the direction of the car, and if there's remote. Criminals interfere with that signal. Watch this. That's when they clone that remote. Especially when your thumb goes down, they push their side and then they your remote.
Yeah.
What you do is you do it you always do, but when you put your hand in your pocket with your remote, you walk about 10 meters. Press it again without looking back. Another 10 meters again, 50 meters again, and then you turn around and do it fourth time, one last time, in your pocket, keeping it and making sure the light. That is a sure way of making sure that you've locked your car. Don't do groceries and nice stuff and put some in the car and then go back and go do a brunch or a breakfast or whatever. Don't leave stuff in the car. Don't let anything be visible in it. And as I've said, you have to be checking out. You've got an expensive vehicle, especially SUVs. These are the cars that the criminals want, and they take it with them. You have to be careful. And you have to have a good talk with your family and a good family plan. One must know where the other one is. All the tracking devices on their cell phone.
Right.
Very important.
Mike, thank you. Sage advice, really important at this time of the year. Mike Paul Hayes is a security expert.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Going to Hatfield in Pretoria. Pretoria Street coming off the highway network's looking a lot better. There was a big crash there early, which basically closed down Pretoria, straightened back everything up, but it's okay now. The big story really is southern side of Joburg with this flooding on the N12 at Lenasia. It is underwater. We're talking the Potch Highway, Joburg bound, between Protea Glen and the first of the Lenasia off-ramp. Short time ago, we had an average speed there of 5 kilometers an hour. I think you'd be lucky if you reach that. And a queue of an hour, around about 60 minutes to get through that. Reroute through Soweto or through Lenasia to just keep yourself moving and avoid standing there going absolutely nowhere. Durban, very wet today, and a lot of crashes all over the place. Not really significant and serious, but enough to do damage to motor vehicles and get tow trucks out and fill in insurance forms. So just take it easy. If you struggle to drive, it's not really the day to be heading out across Durban and KZN. Very, very easy to lose control. Looks like a crash down the bottom of Fields Hill, the M13 from Kloof, coming to Pinetown stays heavy. Breakdown at Cliffdale is being cleared, but there is a bottleneck of traffic from Key Ridge heading out towards Pietermaritzburg side. Cape Town, elevated freeway is busy. Also a crash on the M5 going south at Hyde Road on your way through to Muizenberg, although it looks like that traffic is starting to flow again. Rob Byrne, SAFM Traffic.
You can become a victim of a legal problem: wrongful arrest, assault, uncontested divorce, rental disputes, maintenance matters, or labor problems. It can happen to you. Clientele Legal provides tough professional lawyers for an affordable monthly premium. Our legal team is standing by to assist you 24 hours a day. Join today. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Hello, South Africa. Thabo Sinong is my name. The wait is finally over.
My name is Mazola Molefe. The wait is finally over.
My name is Lonwabo Miso. The wait is finally over. AFCON 2025 kicks off on the 21st of December and concludes on the 18th of January 2026. It's game on everywhere. Catch 52 live matches across SABC2 on all your favorite SABC radio stations and streaming live on SABC+.
Feel every goal, cheer every victory,
and celebrate Bafana Bafana with the nation.
SABC Sport is the official broadcaster of AFCON 2025.
Call Thulasizwe now, 086 000 2032.
All right, let me go to a call from Willie in the Northwest. Good morning to you, Willie.
Good morning, Really, of the day, we're going to run the way how to comment because we're going to run out of how to put our feet on the table. We're talking about one thing at a time. About one thing every time. What are the results of this Kenyan foreign people to come and those Donald Trump who doesn't want anything that is connected to unadded data.
Yeah.
This something. And then again last who go for Donald Trump strategy of no nation and coming to border border issues. People in the country.
Yeah.
Actually, all these comments, all these comments that actually affect the president. Are you sometimes taking provision of taking a comment or complaint at the president?
Hey, Willie, that's a tough one. That's a big challenge. I know that many of the decision makers do listen to the show and do listen to the station. But the president, I wonder, wouldn't it be lovely if he called in one of these days? And then I can just drop everything, Willie, and get you guys to talk to him directly, and table these issues that we raise daily directly with the man himself. Yeah. All right, Willie, thank you. Janusz in Cape Town, good morning to you.
Good morning to us. I would like to talk about Venezuela today. But first of all, Christmas is coming, New Year is coming. All the best to you, to your family, all to the old staff and all the.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that.
And all our listeners as well.
And to you too.
For the next year.
Thank
I
you.
hope we'll be better. And talking about the Venezuela, we had an interview, and the gentleman mentioned, he said there actually is no opposition in the visible opposition to the present leader of Venezuela. Is there any opposition to leaders in Russia, China, North Korea, Cuba? They are not opposition because you cannot set up opposition one on the street. You're going to be arrested. You're going to be killed. So she's talking rubbish to me because I know I stood up against and I criticized the government, Polish government, and I was arrested. So there is no opposition.
You criticized which government, Janusz?
No, Polish government I criticized when I was
Polish.
there.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Because there was supposed to be no opposition. You know, so the president challenged him for that because it's not what he says.
Yeah.
It's rather There's no opposition to Afghanistan when human rights, because of the, of the people who, what can I say?
Yeah,
Muslim.
I hear you. So the point you're making is that when Donovan Williams says the Maduro government is popular and has very little opposition, you are saying that's a factor of the style of governance, the cracking down on opposition.
That's right.
All
And
right.
also, I would like
Got
to
you.
say, I don't agree with Trump is doing because he's harming the ordinary people. The same like in South Africa. It shouldn't be done this way. It should be done in a different way. Because it's also what's happening in our country as well. We're suffering. Where the ANC and all the other governments, they still enjoy it, and they will
Gotcha. Janusz?
make a noise. Yeah.
All right, Janusz, thank you for that. That's Janusz in Cape Town weighing in on the situation in Venezuela. A few people want to talk about the killing of DJ Waras, as well as just generally this gun violence and killings in our country.
Morning, Thulasizwe FM listeners. It's Marumo here in Mahike. Look, Thulasizwe, these people they are now guessing who killed DJ Warren. These people must investigate this matter thoroughly, and when they go out there to arrest, they are sure who killed this gentleman. They mustn't just guess now. They are calling people, end up suing the states, and we have to pay millions and millions to people for wrongful arrest. No, man, they must investigate thoroughly who killed the man and go and arrest him, put him behind bars. That's it. Good morning, Thulasizwe. Maroon.
Morning, Tulas. I see now Australia after that crisis last week for gun killing. I mean, they're saying they're going to make a strict law. In South Africa, people have been killed every day. There are gun problem. People are being violently killed and all of that. But we never hear any politician except Men Mashaba. The president is quiet, ANC is quiet. What is happening? Are they fine with the state of the crime? Why can't they put a hard line, a laws to keep these guns and crime that's happening in this country? Why? Why is ANC and the president quiet about these things?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. All right. They will probably say they're not quiet, but I share the sentiment with you that it doesn't feel, even when they talk about we're going to push back against crime, etc., I've not gotten the sense that the appreciation is there of the scale and gravity of where we are in the moment as far as crime goes. I've not gotten that sense, the sense of urgency, that sense that says this is a major crisis that requires decisive action, and requires decisive action now, not in 3 years' time, not what the NDP promises by 2030. No, no, no. At this rate, many of us don't get to 2030. So this is a crisis of the now. But I've heard strong statements, I won't lie, but it doesn't feel like there's an appreciation of just how dire the violent crime situation in this country is. I've not gotten that sense that instills a confidence in me that says my government gets it. My government gets what we are dealing with at the moment. Anyway, maybe you have a different experience. Do share that with me. I don't mind you disagreeing with me completely. That's all right. That's part of this, the culture of this show. Let me take a few more on the conversation we had with Deputy Minister Zolile Burns Ngamashe about initiate deaths in the Eastern Cape.
Hi, SAFM. I must say, the person that was speaking on the death of the initiate, I think it's very disappointing for a person whose job is to engage, to especially on a platform where we are limited for time, to speak the way he speaks. This is where you need to be fluid in your speech, clear, like provide detail. Like, what's the takeaway with all the time he was assigned? What did we get?
All right. I get the point you're making, but yeah, I'll refrain from weighing in on that because we all speak differently, right? Different tone, different paces, etc. But I different cadence. But I get the point you are making, but I will not comment on it. I always say perhaps the substance of what the person is saying is what we try to care about. But I hear you. I hear you. With that said, thank you for listening and thank you for engaging as always. This is where we leave it for this morning. And Musa on standby with the latest news, after which the talking point with Kete Mutlatlana. I'm Thulasizwe Simelane, and you've been briefed.
In our top stories, police probe fatal shooting of a Cape Town taxi driver, and ANC urges top priority treatment for DJ Wara's murder probe. Good morning. A 34-year-old man believed to be a taxi driver has been shot and killed in Seawinds in Cape Town. Police spokesperson Wesley Tweek says the shooting happened at the corner of St. Patrick Avenue and St. William Road. He says the motive for the attack is still unknown. Tweek says no arrests have yet been made.
Muizenberg police responded to a complaint of a shooting, and upon arrival on the scene, they found the victim inside a minibus taxi with gunshot wounds to his body. The victim was declared deceased on the scene by medical personnel.
The ANC has called for the murder of Warwick Stock, better known as DJ Waras, to be treated with the highest priority and allocated proper resources. DJ Waras was shot dead in the Johannesburg CBD on Tuesday. ANC spokesperson Mahlengi Bengu says DJ Waras was a courageous and vocal champion of the rule of law, dedicating his platform to the fight against the illegal occupation and hijacking of buildings.
We call on the South African Police Service to treat this case with the highest priority. Every resource, including the CCTV footage under review, must be the lever against to ensure swift arrests and watertight prosecution. There can be no sanctuary for those who believe they can silence activists with impunity.
President Cyril Ramaphosa has received the interim report of the Matlanga Commission of Inquiry looking into criminality, political interference and corruption in the criminal justice system. The handing over of the Matlanga Commission interim report to President Cyril Ramaphosa marks 3 months since the KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi took to the stand at the Bridget Mabandla Justice College